Chapter 1541. In the post, Master Duan Li pointed out with certainty, Black could not be an A-rank spirit chi professional, so the spirit cat's strength could not reach Emperor rank. Moreover, when the spirit cat's shadow counterattacked, there was no spiritual power fluctuation. This situation was similar to a passive skill that would automatically counterattack when it received passive damage. According to the strength of the counterattack, the spiritual power of the counterattack was almost the same as the exquisite rhinoceros deer's strongest attack. Master Duan Li made a bold guess. Black's mask should be a cat species fey with 8 tails and a tool transformation item. Of course, Master Duan Li also pointed out that this was only her guess. She could not rule out other possibilities. Master Duan Li's post quickly attracted the attention of many Starweb netizens. A Class 4 Creation Master's analysis was always closer to the truth than a random guess. It was precisely because Master Duan Li, a Class 4 Creation Master, made such an uncertain statement that the academic world was in an uproar. Many Class 4 and Class 5 scholars, Fey observers, and Fey analysts entered the field. They were analyzing Black's Fey. On one hand, it was to prove Master Duan Li's statement. On the other hand, it was to find evidence to refute Master Duan Li's statement. If he could really refute a Class 4 Creation Master's statement, wouldn't he be able to prove it? His knowledge was even more profound than a Class 4 Creation Master's. Wang Zhong stared blankly at the Celestial Stairway Sanctum ranking. When he saw Black's age, he was speechless for a long time. When he saw the age of 18, Wang Zhong finally understood everything that he did not understand before. He understood why Lin Yuan's Star Web access was so high. Even he, the Star Web manager, could not investigate it. He also understood Lin Yuan's possible identity. At this age, with this level of access, he was definitely the disciple of one of the Majesties. Moreover, this Majesty's disciple was even more talented than the other disciples of the Majesties. Black was very likely to be the new leader of the Radiance faction in the future. Such a person was already lying in wait. The public duel that he had arranged at the Starlight Gladiator Arena was the same as exposing Black's identity. It made Black the center of attention on the Star Web. Fortunately, Lu Shuang, whom he had arranged, had never fought Black before. If Lu Shuang's actions caused Black to be defeated in front of the entire Star Web audience, in that case, he might even be blacklisted by the Lord who set up the authority to settle the score. Lin Yuan, who was in the Spirit Lock spatial zone checking on Genius's situation, was completely unaware of the commotion on Starweb. Meow. Lin Yuan, smart, it's fine. You don't have to worry about being clever. After Lin Yuan checked on Genius and confirmed that there was nothing wrong with it, he spoke. Smart. Under normal circumstances, your skill, mental expansion, will not materialize the phantom of a spirit cat. Why did you summon the phantom of the spirit cat during this attack? When Genius heard this, it explained in a childish voice. Genius was too nervous. Genius was afraid that the attack would injure you. So, Genius mobilized the mental energy of the other 100 Questions beasts and turned their mental energy into spirits to protect you. This is the first time Genius has used this ability. Genius didn't know that such a big scene would appear after using this method. It seems that Genius has caused trouble for Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan reached out and scratched Genius' chin. Smart. With your current spiritual energy, you should be able to resist a creation breed spiritual type Fey, right? When Genius heard this, it replied softly. Genius is confident in blocking the attacks of a spiritual type myth breed Fey. But when facing some special spiritual type Feys that release spiritual toxins, Genius's spiritual defense will be greatly weakened. But Lin Yuan, don't worry. Genius is about to reach Fantasy V. After reaching Fantasy V, Genius is confident in resisting the spiritual toxins released by a Myth 3 Fey. At this point, Genius paused for a moment before continuing. Lin Yuan, find a few more 100 Questions beasts for Genius. Genius should be able to contract another 100 Questions beasts with its Smart Cat spirit ability. After hearing Genius' words, Lin Yuan's heart was filled with joy. He He didn't expect that the increase in quality would actually increase Genius's soul power so much. Genius could use Smart Cat Spirit to form a contract with another 100 questions beasts. Right now, the number of 100 questions beasts had doubled. It meant that Lin Yuan was about to possess 200 Pinnacle Class 4 Creation Masters. Such a production capacity was already comparable to the Federation's Pinnacle Creation Masters. Apart from the 100 Questions Beast Legion, Lin Yuan also had a Class 5 Creation Master under him. The Class 5 Creation Master was none other than Di Wanmi, who was being controlled by Red Thorn's tongue of Relinquish. Lin Yuan waved his hand and released Di Wanmi. Under Red Thorn's control, Di Wanmi, who was standing in front of Lin Yuan, was no longer as arrogant and evil as before. However, Di Wanmi's eyes were still filled with disregard for life. However, Di Wanmi had previously ignored the lives of human creation masters. Under Red Thorn's control, Di Wanmi was indifferent to all living beings. Lin Yuan could understand this. In the dazzling red eyes, the flesh and blood of all living creatures were just bait for him to increase his strength. Ever since Lin Yuan had started nurturing Red Thorn, it had been devouring dimensional life forms' flesh in large quantities. Fortunately, his existence could control Red Thorn, so that Red Thorn wouldn't become very dangerous. If he didn't restrict Red Thorn, it would be completely up to Red Thorn's whims if he left it in the wild. He was certain that the natural disaster caused by the rampaging Red Thorn was a natural disaster. It was definitely not inferior to those carcinoma phase that were known as the Fifth Calamity. After pondering for a moment, Lin Yuan took out the sacred source life form, Scarlet Tentacle Algae, that he had obtained from killing the Shark Mang. He passed it to Di Wanmi. Turn the sacred source life form, Scarlet Tentacle Algae's body into a treasure. Upon hearing that, Di Wanmi took the Scarlet Tentacle Algae corpse that Lin Yuan handed over and said, "That's right. If I want to forge it into a prized artifact, I will need around 2 weeks." The Scarlet Tentacle Algae has the ability to shield, restrain, and absorb energy. Its shape is suitable to be made into a whip-like prized artifact. It's just that the 6-star sacred source lifeform's body is too heavily damaged. The quality of the refined treasures can only be between low-grade and mid-grade. If you're unlucky, you'll only be able to obtain a low-grade treasure. If I'm lucky, the prized artifact quality can reach mid-grade. It's just that the possibility is very small. Di Wanmi had only used a few sentences to show Lin Yuan the standard of a Class 5 Creation Master. Chapter 1542. When a mother of Bloodbath had awakened its favored spirit bloodline. Most of the Scarlet Tentacle Algae's bodies have been used by the mother of Bloodbath as consumables to replenish its depleted blood energy. As long as the remaining Scarlet Tentacle Algae's bodies could be made into treasured artifacts. Who cared if they were inferior grade or middle grade? The greeting gift that Chef Supreme had given him in the Radiant Moon Palace. The treasured artifact made of the treasure cave golden toad skin and stomach pouch was an inferior grade treasure. However, after using it for so long, the more Lin Yuan used it, the more fragrant it was. It had helped him solve many problems. The treasured artifact made of the treasure cave golden toad skin and stomach pouch had traveled back and forth between the Radiance Federation and the Divine Wood Federation. Only God knew how many spatial spiritual materials Lin Yuan had saved. Next, Lin Yuan needed to consider how to settle down Di Wanmi. He now had 3 choices. The first choice was to send Di Wanmi to the Swamp World's breeding room. He would provide resources for Di Wanmi and let him concoct a large number of Class 5 spirit liquids. He would be a tool that only knew how to concoct spirit liquids. The second choice was to let Di Wanmi appear in the Radiance Federation openly. He would let when you put a layer of faceless paper on Di Wanmi's face, which was now full of nail scars. Then, he would let Di Wanmi, who had changed his appearance, preside over Sky City. He would pull Sky City's status to the same level as the Radiant Moon Palace, the Kitchen Fragrance Palace, and the Purple Bamboo Garden. The third choice was to bring Di Wanmi to the Divine Wood Federation. Then, he would speed up the development of the Shockwave Continent. With Di Wanmi's momentum as a Class 5 Creation Master, He could even let the Divine Wood Federation, Iron Hammer Federation, and Deep Ramen Federation on the Shockwave continent fuse into a new federation, a federation with a Class 5 Creation Master presiding over it. At that time, the entire Shockwave continent's faction structure would be centered around Di Wanmi. In other words, through Di Wanmi, Lin Yuan could control the entire Shockwave continent in his hands. After thinking about it, Lin Yuan gave up on the first choice. Even if Di Wanmi went to the Shockwave continent or preside over Sky City and revealed his identity, it would not stop Di Wanmi from hoarding Class 5 spirit liquids like a tool. If Di Wanmi was a living Class 5 Creation Master, Di Wanmi would have to work. Lin Yuan might need to consider Di Wanmi's feelings. However, the current Di Wanmi was just a tool controlled by Red Thorn. Even if Di Wanmi had to work 24 hours a day, Lin Yuan would not need to have any psychological burden. He weighed the options between the second and third option. He decisively gave up on the second point. The Radiant Moon Palace was a faction established by his master, the Moon Empress, and Lin Yuan was the young lord of the Radiant Moon Palace. Di Wanmi presided over Sky City and displayed his strength as a creation master. While Sky City was elevated to the same level as the Radiant Moon Palace, wasn't Sky City that was truly revered. It was Di Wanmi, the Class 5 Creation Master. Di Wanmi was Hui Yao's sinner. Even after death, he did not have the right to be revered by others. He was even more unworthy to be on the same level as his master, the Moon Empress. This was the same as insulting his master, the Moon Empress, Chef Supreme, and Bamboo Monarch. Moreover, Lin Yuan's ambition in building a Sky City was not in the Radiant Sect. Sky City now possessed the might of a top-tier force. It also displayed a massive amount of Creation Master resources. Just the Golden Lotus Brocade was enough for Lin Yuan to develop in the Radiant Sect for a long time. Therefore, the Agon continent was the most suitable for Di Wanmi. It was impossible for him to preside over the Divine Wood Federation's underground palace for a long time. The Divine Wood Federation was not without experts. Apart from being a Class 5 Creation Master, Di Wanmi was also a peak Immortal Realm expert. Di Wanmi still had the ability of a Creation Master after death. However, Di Wanmi's phase had been killed and were the same as Di Wanmi. They were both controlled by the tongue of Relinquish and could exist in another way. Therefore, Di Wanmi's strength as a spirit chi professional was the same as a Creation Master's ability. Without the chance to improve again, he could only be stuck at the peak of Immortal Realm for the rest of his life. Such strength might not be enough to face the Mother Goddess Federation, which had a fresh Class 5 Creation Master presiding over it. However, the Agon continent did not even have a Class 5 Creation Master. Such strength was already considered the ceiling of the Agon continent. Lin Yuan had a dispute with the Deep Lush Federation's reclusive Liu family in Oak City. He had killed the Liu family's people and burned their tree castle. The Liu family would definitely react to this matter. With Di Wanmi presiding over the underground palace and sending out his phase, it was the most effective way to ensure the safety of the land that Lin Yuan currently controlled. It was the most effective guarantee for the safety of the land that Lin Yuan was currently in control of. It allowed Lin Yuan to understand the situation of the Agon continent in the first place. Through communicating with Red Thorn, Di Wanmi was like a clone. Time passed day by day. The Celestial Body Council convened 2 more times. Lin Yuan, who had been observing Genius and Chimey's situation, realized that Genius had been stuck in its quality. It was preparing to transform into Fantasy V with Chimey, just like the previous time when it evolved into a fantasy breed. They would welcome a new bloodline transformation together. At that moment, Chimey's feathers were emitting a faint glazed luster. When it flapped its wings, there would be an immortal sound. It was obvious that Chimey would be able to evolve from Fantasy 4 to Fantasy V within these 2 days. Its quality might evolve from Fantasy 4 to Fantasy V at any time. It would complete a new round of breakthrough. Just as Lin Yuan was looking forward to Chimey's bloodline breakthrough, the Mother of Bloodbath found him. Lin Yuan could feel the ups and downs of the mother of Bloodbath's emotions from its eyes. Just as Lin Yuan was about to ask the mother of Bloodbath what had happened, the mother of Bloodbath spoke softly with a trembling voice. Lin Yuan, he's here. Through my connection with the Sun Chain, I can sense that he will arrive at the Radiant's royal capital within today. Lin Yuan immediately knew who the mother of Bloodbath was referring to. When the mother of Bloodbath had transformed into a favored spirit, there had been a sun chain echoing in the sky with the mother of Bloodbath. This meant that the mother of Bloodbath definitely had a blood relative. Lin Yuan felt that the mother of Bloodbath's blood relative was likely to be a female fae. Otherwise, it would not be possible to share the Sky Corona Jade Spider bloodline with the mother of Bloodbath. However, Lin Yuan could not figure it out. As a favored spirit that belonged to the sun, why could the mother of Bloodbath inherit the favored spirit's bloodline when she gave birth to the mother of Bloodbath? According to the records, the favored spirit's bloodline had always been maintained alone. Even if some heavenly chosen spirits gave birth to children, the children shouldn't be heavenly chosen spirits. The mother of Bloodbath had never been a person who liked to express its emotions. Lin Yuan could clearly feel the mother of Bloodbath's nervousness, panic, and anticipation on its face. There was also a hint of complaint. Chapter 1543. Through the mother of Bloodbath's emotions, Lin Yuan knew that it had been looking forward to this meeting for a long time. Just as Lin Yuan stood up from the water rhinoceros leather sofa and was about to comfort the mother of Bloodbath suddenly, the sun in the sky suddenly brightened and emitted countless rays of light. These rays of light seemed to cover the sun with a layer of gauze. A chain that looked like an angry dragon suddenly fell from the sun. At that moment, the royal capital's residents could not help but raise their heads and look at the sky in horror. They did not understand what was happening. At that moment, an old man with white hair and beard but a baby face appeared out of thin air. He appeared in front of the sun chain out of thin air. He looked at the blue-haired woman in front of him, the black-clothed man in a fishing net suit, and the red-clothed youth with a pair of strange eyes. The old man spoke faintly. The three hall masters of the heaven-blessed mansion, why don't you stay in the heaven-blessed mansion? Why have you come to my radiance? As he spoke, the old man's aura suddenly emitted. Immediately after, a shell shadow appeared behind the old man. The shell was silver in color and had all kinds of magnificent runes jumping on it. When the two runes on the shell collided, they would produce strange spatial ripples. Suddenly, the huge silver shell opened. The entire sky was dyed bright silver by this huge silver shell. It was as if the sky above the royal capital was split into two worlds. The flesh in the silver shell stretched out and spat out a silver pearl. The flesh inside the silver shell stretched out and then spat out a silver pearl. Although it did not cut the sun chain, the silver light covered the entire Radiant's royal capital. Immediately after, the old man raised his hand and pointed at the sky. Immediately after, the old man raised his hand and pointed at the sky. An even more terrifying spatial fluctuation was mobilized by the old man. It was as if some powerful creature was going to drill out of the old man's body. At that moment, the blue-haired woman opposite the old man hurriedly stepped forward and said, "Space-time elder, long time no see. I didn't expect your hollow crystal mother shellfish to be able to create dimensional spaces at will. The three of us are here to visit Radiance. We mean no harm. The heaven-blessed mansion has never thought of becoming enemies with Radiance. Put away your stance." The old man snorted when he heard that. Not only did his aura not restrain at all, it even grew stronger and stronger. Making such a big commotion in the sky above our Radiance sect doesn't seem like the etiquette of a visit. If you want to pay a special visit, your heaven's blessed dojo should first send an invitation to the imperial court. Then, I'll wait in Ascending Dragon City, waiting for the special envoy to bring me into the capital. This is the proper etiquette for coming to my Hui Yao. The old man's words made the blue-haired woman look a little embarrassed. The blue-haired woman pondered for a moment before saying, "We were rude." After saying that, the blue-haired woman transformed. It turned into a beautiful orchid that bloomed in the sky. The orchid spat out dew, and a fine rain poured down from the sky. It sprinkled onto the land within the boundaries of the royal capital. This drizzle lasted for a full 5 minutes before the blue-haired woman returned to human form. This nourishing rain, just treat it as heaven's blessed dojo's gift to Hui Yao. As she spoke, the blue-haired woman's face revealed a pained expression. The baby-faced old man with white hair and beard saw the blue-haired woman. To think that he had directly given such a great opportunity to the capital city. He couldn't help but reveal a surprised expression. Then, the old man's expression returned to normal. He said, "Then I'll thank heaven's blessed dojo on behalf of the fays that received nourishment on the royal capital's soil." Although the old man said that, he didn't restrain his aura at all. He also didn't intend to retract the mother crystal ability. When a man in the fishing net clothes saw this, he immediately revealed a displeased expression. "Hey, Elder Time, Blue Lotus has been brewing this nourishing rain for at least 50 years. This nourishing rain that gathered the essence of the 4 seas for 50 years can allow the land around your royal capital to have a bountiful harvest for 30 years. This great gift is enough to express our heaven's blessed dojo's sincerity." When Blue Lotus heard Bai Feng's words, she hurriedly glared at her. Then, she smiled apologetically at Elder Time and said, "I came to Hui Yao this time. Firstly, Brother Blood wants to thank the Moon Empress and Night Empress for their help to Heaven's blessed dojo. Secondly, Brother Blood's daughter is in Heaven's blessed dojo. It's unavoidable that we're in a rush to recognize each other in person." Blue Lotus knew what kind of person the old man in front of her was. Father Time always had such a smile on his face, but he always did things by the book. If she didn't express her intentions immediately, if that happened, Father Time would immediately summon something terrifying to deal with them. If it was just Elder Space alone, Blue Lotus wouldn't be afraid. If she, Shui Shua, and Bai Feng joined forces, they might be able to fight Elder Time head-on. But this was Heaven's blessed dojo. Elder Time would appear on one hand, because he was good at large-scale defense. On the other hand, Heaven's blessed dojo also wanted to find out their purpose and intentions. Once they made a move, the other holiness paying attention to the movements in the sky would definitely attack instantly. No matter how conceited Blue Lotus was about her strength, she didn't dare to face the attacks of so many holiness at the same time. Moreover, Heaven's blessed dojo and Heaven's blessed dojo had no enmity. In the matter of Sister Jade Gui and Shui Shaw, Heaven's blessed dojo owed Heaven's blessed dojo a favor. That was why Blue Lotus was willing to release the moist rain that she had refined for 50 years. Father Time frowned upon hearing Lan Lian's words. Father Time knew that there was a heavenly spirit that belonged to the sun some time ago. On the island outside Stormy Wave City, the sun was triggered and a strange phenomenon occurred. Back then, the Moon Empress had even helped the favored spirit. Later, after asking around, Father Time learned that this spirit of heavenly favor was related to the Moon Empress disciple. Not long ago, during the court meeting, the Moon Empress disciple, Lin Yuan, had saved tens of thousands of creation masters in the Whale Ocean Trade City's underground palace. Night Leaning Moon explained everything to him. If the Moon Empress came out of seclusion, this matter could be handed over to her to make the decision. However, the Moon Empress had yet to come out of seclusion, and Elder Time could not let the 3 favored spirits in front of him go and find Lin Yuan. If anything were to happen, the Moon Empress would definitely look for him to settle the score. He might even tear apart his old bones. In the future, his granddaughter would also be sad because of her employer's death. You guys came at the wrong time. The Moon Empress is in seclusion. Retreat to Ascending Dragon City first. When the Moon Empress comes out of seclusion, someone will come to Ascending Dragon City to bring you to the royal capital for a visit. Lan Lian had said so much just now. However, Old Man Time's words came back to him. This made Lan Lian feel a little annoyed. It was a very simple matter. She just needed to let Shui Shua see her child. Lan Lian really didn't understand why Elder Time and Space was so evasive. Chapter 1544. At this moment, Xue Shuo had already placed his hand on the sun chain. At such a close distance, the sun stripe had sent a message through the sun chain. Xue Shuo could already vaguely sense the mother of Bloodbath's location. Xue Shuo's face was filled with apprehension, anticipation, and guilt. Then, Xue Shuo turned to look at Father Time. I need to see my child today. I swear by the sun. I don't do anything but see my children. As Xue Shuo spoke, his body was bathed in a layer of sunlight. This layer of sunlight took away a portion of Xue Shuo's energy and shot it into the sun. The heavenly chosen spirit could swear upon the celestial phenomenon that it belonged to. This was an ability unique to the chosen spirits. If the oath was broken, the heavenly protector spirit would be rejected by the celestial phenomenon. It could be said that Xue Shuo had shown all his sincerity. To be able to become the hall master of the heaven-blessed mansion, one's strength had at least reached the eternal realm. Making a powerhouse who had a glimpse of eternity swear an oath in public was a very humiliating thing to do. However, Xue Shuo did it without even thinking about it. It was evident how much Xue Shuo was looking forward to seeing his child. Xue Shuo's sincerity made things difficult for Father Time. If he continued to refuse, it would be tantamount to preventing their flesh and blood from meeting. However, if he didn't refuse, what if something happened when Xue Shuo went to see the child? Elder Spacetime would no longer have the face to be Hui Yao's majesty. The Spacetime Geezer said in a serious tone, even if the heaven-blessed dojo's grand dojo master, Zi Qing, comes to Hui Yao as a guest, he has to first send a visiting card and wait to be received in Ascending Dragon City. When the time comes, our Hui Yao will naturally treat you with courtesy. I haven't seen my child for so many years. I don't think it's a long time. Old Man Time's words made Xue Shuo's eyes dim. Anger finally appeared on Lan Lian and Bai Feng's faces. The Radiance Federation's majesty presided over the Radiance Federation. In such a large-scale federation with a population of hundreds of millions, laws would always be above human relations. As an organization formed by dozens of heavenly chosen spirits, the Heaven-Blessed Mansion had always pursued the principle of human relations. This made it impossible for Father Time to consider problems from Xue Shuo's perspective. As a result, Lan Lian and Bai Feng couldn't understand what was going on. Why did the Radiance sect keep dodging the question? Could it be that there was something wrong with the children of Xue Shuo and Yugui? Lan Lian and Bai Feng's auras became chaotic when they thought of this. Blue Lotus and White Phoenix exuded an aura that felt like it would last for eternity. It collided with Father Time's pressure. For a moment, the atmosphere was in a deadlock. At that moment, the sky above the Radiance Royal Capital was firmly blocked by the spatial force. No one could see what was happening in the sky. The mother of Bloodbath looked at the sky and whispered to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan, I have to go to the sky. The mother of Bloodbath knew that Lin Yuan was the Moon Empress disciple. He wanted to fight for the position of the Radiance Envoy. As Lin Yuan's path protector, if a conflict broke out between the Heaven-Blessed Mansion and the Radiance Sect, because of him, the Radiance Sect wouldn't be able to protect the Heaven-Blessed Mansion. It created an irreversible situation. In the Radiance, Lin Yuan was bound to be affected by him. Even if it was hurt, the mother of Bloodbath did not want to affect Lin Yuan. After saying that, the mother of Bloodbath prepared to fly toward the sky. At that moment, the mother of Bloodbath felt its palm being held by another pair of warm hands. I'll go with you. What's the matter? I might be able to help. Lin Yuan's words made the mother of Bloodbath's heart burn. He was clearly Lin Yuan's path protector. So why was he acting like this whenever something happened? Why did Lin Yuan protect it more when things happened? Just as the mother of Bloodbath was about to refuse, Lin Yuan continued. This spatial barrier in the sky can even block the sun chain. You definitely won't be able to pass through. I don't have any good ideas. I'll call Uncle Xian and ask him to take us up. At such a time, Lin Yuan did not even think of acting rashly. Behind this spatial energy shield stood a majesty. With Xian Yu around, he could better communicate with her holiness. Lin Yuan dialed Xian Yu's number. After explaining the purpose of his visit, Xianyu did not hesitate for a moment. Xianyu appeared in the old residence of the return from faraway manor. Looking at the situation in the sky, Xianyu secretly cursed. Xianyu knew about the Mother of Bloodbath. Previously, the Mother of Bloodbath had successfully passed the world cleansing. Xianyu knew that the people from the Heaven-Blessed Mansion would definitely come knocking. The Heaven-Blessed Mansion was a path that the Moon Empress had paved for the store. However, Xianyu did not expect the people from the Heaven-Blessed Mansion to be so reckless. They charged into the sky above the royal capital without saying a word. If she had known, she would not have tempered the Dragon Ball. Fortunately, Lin Yuan found her in time. The shield supported by the sacred source life form, the hollow crystal mother shellfish, was very stable. Obviously, there was no conflict yet. If there was a conflict and anger was ignited, Spacetime Oldman's temper would not necessarily give her face. Xianyu glanced at the Mother of Bloodbath and then said to Lin Yuan, "Young Lord, when you source-type lifeform-based paper has reached gold and obtained a skill called Faceless Paper. Young Lord, when you source-type lifeform-based paper has reached gold and obtained a skill called Faceless Paper. Young Lord, when you will go with me later. There is no need to hide with the Faceless Paper. Your appearance will be exposed to the eyes of all the royal capital residents." Upon hearing Xianyu's words, Lin Yuan took out the faceless paper that Wen Yu had given him. He stuck on his face. Soon, Lin Yuan turned from a handsome youth to an ordinary person. Xianyu waved her hand, and a dragon carriage formed by spiritual energy appeared. It appeared in the return from faraway manor. 9 silver flood dragons hovered at the front of the carriage, which was formed from mental power. Lin Yuan, who had seen Xianyu's true body, realized that these silver flood dragons' true bodies were very similar to Xianyu's true body. They were very similar to Xianyu's true body. However, they did not have the pair of huge silver wings that Xianyu's true body had. Lin Yuan and the Mother of Bloodbath sat on the dragon carriage, and the 9 dragons flew around. Under the dumbfounded gazes of the royal capital residents, the dragon carriage stopped outside the silver spatial barrier. Xianyu stretched out her hand, and an aura that surpassed the eternal realm flashed. The silver light from Xianyu's palm melted a large hole in the spatial barrier. 9 giant dragons formed from mental energy directly pulled the dragon carriage through the hole. Everyone in the royal capital looked through the hole. It was as if they saw the pitch-black night, the vast ocean, and the burning sun. The space-time elder had used the hollow crystal mother shellfish to create a spiritual barrier. It was to protect the safety of the people in the Radiance royal capital. Therefore, Elder Time used all his strength and did not hold back at all. Seeing Xianyu at the front of the dragon carriage, Elder Time ignored Blue Lotus and White Phoenix, who were clashing with him with their auras. Chapter 1545. He looked at Xianyu and said, "With Black Moon Emissary's current strength, if he were to leave the Moon Empress and form his own faction, it's enough to achieve the title of His Majesty within 3 years." Xianyu's strength had broken through the eternal realm and reached that level. It had already reached the standard of Lord Radiance. At the same time, Mystic Moon's sacred source life form was one of the 3 sacred source life forms used to construct the star web. It was of great significance to Hui Yao. Therefore, what Old Man Time said was not a compliment to Xianyu. In Father Time's opinion, it might be even shorter. Hui Yao's majesties would no longer be 13, but 14. Xianyu shook her head and said in a serious tone, "Spacetime Holiness, stop joking. I, Black Moon, will forever be a moon envoy under the Moon Empress. I have no intention of becoming your majesty. Your Holiness Spacetime, please do not say such things in the future." Hearing this, Time Lord took a deep look at Xianyu. Back then, because of the Moon Empress, Mystic Moon, and Night Leaning Moon, among the Radiant Sex envoys, Mystic Moon and Night Leaning Moon's matter had caused a huge commotion. It caused a huge commotion. In the end, Night Empress took over the Spirit Guards. It ended with the Moon Empress establishing the Radiant Moon Palace. Back then, as the Moon Empress Retainer Knight, Mystic Moon naturally became the Radiant Moon Palace's Mystic Moon Envoy. With the passage of time, Mystic Moon broke through to the Eternal Realm. His loyalty to the Moon Empress was still the same. It seemed like the Radiant Moon Palace would become the only faction in the Radiance sect, with two powerhouses who had awakened their life providences. The 9 spiritual energy dragons coiled and firmly blocked Lin Yuan and the Mother of Bloodbath. Long Lian and Bai Feng felt that the situation had become more troublesome because of Xian Yu's arrival. However, Shueishua's eyes seemed to be able to see through the 9 spiraling mental energy dragons. He landed firmly on the left side of the dragon carriage. Through the Sunchain's perception, Shueishua could clearly sense the Mother of Bloodbath's location. But for some reason, when faced with the sun who was right in front of him, he didn't know what to do. Xian Yu actually couldn't muster the courage to touch it, because up until now, Shueishua still couldn't be sure that he and Yu Gui had a child. Was it a man or a woman? Lan Lian and Shueishua were shocked when they sensed the change in Shueishua's expression. Could it be that the Radiant Moon Palace's Black Moon envoy sent Shueishua and Big Sister Yu Gui's child over? On the dragon chariot, the Mother of Bloodbath took a deep breath, and a trace of cowardice appeared in its heart. For as long as it could remember, the Mother of Bloodbath had always been puzzled. Why did the animals have 2 big ones and 1 small one? Why was he the only one who had been alone since birth? The Mother of Bloodbath was a tarantula, an avian fae that built a nest to protect its chicks. The Mother of Bloodbath usually did not choose to hunt. Only when facing lone avian fays would the Mother of Bloodbath hunt them cleanly and neatly. The Mother of Bloodbath continued to work hard. The birds and single dogs of the Forest of Infinity Edge were basically swallowed into their stomachs. In the process of awakening the favored spirit bloodline, the Mother of Bloodbath had experienced the test of life and death again and again. In the end, he bathed in the Sunchain and was reborn, becoming the sun's favorite. At that time, the Mother of Bloodbath had confirmed that she still had a blood relative. A silent feeling quietly rose in his heart. This feeling was different from the charming and gentle feelings she had for Lin Yuan. His feelings for Wen Yu, Lu Jie, and Endless Summer were also simple and pure. However, this feeling was unusually strong and firm. It was as if the Mother of Bloodbath's existence had been engraved in its bloodline and genes. Therefore, it was difficult for the Mother of Bloodbath to not feel perturbed now that it knew that its kin was close at hand. Everyone was afraid that their expectations would be disappointed. Compared to the perturbed feeling, the Mother of Bloodbath wanted to understand more. Why had it been abandoned back then? He clearly had the bloodline of a chosen spirit. What was the relationship between the celestial corona jade spider that had turned into the Radiance lava zone and it? With that thought, the Mother of Bloodbath jumped down from the dragon carriage. At that moment, Shueishua's beautiful eyes stared at the Mother of Bloodbath's face. The moment he saw the Mother of Bloodbath's face, his bright red and orange gold eyes turned dark red at the same time. A soft cry came out of Shueishua's mouth subconsciously. Ague! Shueishua had never thought that he would see it again one day. That beautiful face that only existed in his memory. Blue Lotus and White Phoenix also looked at the Mother of Bloodbath. They subconsciously called out, Big Sister Jade Guang. Lin Yuan and Elder Time were dumbfounded by this situation. However, it was within Xian Yu's expectations. Xian Yu had seen the Jade Gui that Shueishua, Blue Lotus, and White Phoenix were talking about. The Jade Gui's appearance was almost the same as the current Mother of Bloodbath. Often, the more powerful a life form's bloodline was, the harder it was to have children. If one was lucky enough to have children, the children would definitely look very similar to the previous generation. The bloodline of the favored spirit could be said to be the noblest existence among fays. Therefore, the Mother of Bloodbath and the Jade Gui looked the same. It was a matter of course. In Xian Yu's impression, Shueishua was just a scarlet tarantula that could not even resist the 5-page truth. Xian Yu did not understand how Shueishua had awakened the celestial corona jade spider bloodline. Furthermore, the celestial corona jade spider bloodline and the scarlet tarantula bloodline had perfectly fused. The first person to react to the Mother of Bloodbath's appearance was Shueishua. When Shueishua saw the Mother of Bloodbath's face, he immediately thought of the Jade Gouet. It evoked dusty memories. However, as a father, Shue was able to determine in a very short time. This was not the Jade Gouet, but his and the Jade Gouet's daughter, the blood bond. This face that was similar to the Jade Gouet had a frosty expression, and there was not even a trace of smile. The Jade Gouet had a personality that loved to smile, and it was rare for it not to smile. The mother of Bloodbath's coldness did not make Shue feel unfamiliar or awkward. Instead, it made Shue feel more remorseful. He felt even more sorry for the mother of Bloodbath. However, Shue soon sensed the blood law power that permeated the mother of Bloodbath's body. It was actually resonating with the person on the right side of the dragon carriage. This meant that his daughter, the blood bond, was using the blood law power. She had made an oath to the person on the left side of the dragon carriage. This discovery made Shue's expression suddenly sink. Coincidentally, Lin Yuan jumped down from the dragon carriage at that moment. He immediately met Shue's cold eyes. Shue's hostility confused Lin Yuan for a moment. Xian Yu saw Shue's gaze and snorted. Just as she was about to speak, she saw the mother of Bloodbath take a step to the right. It blocked Lin Yuan behind it. Then, it walked in front of Shue and spoke in a tense voice. "Let's find a place to talk. If you don't mind, I have a lot of questions to ask you." Upon hearing the mother of Bloodbath's words, Shue's dark red eyes could no longer hold back. Two streams of hot tears flowed down his cheeks. How much had his daughter experienced? How much suffering had she been tempered by? Only then could she become so strong. Chapter 1546. Shue subconsciously opened his arms and wanted to hug the mother of Bloodbath. He hugged his long-lost daughter. But when he thought about how he had never fulfilled his responsibilities as a father all this time, he couldn't help but sigh. Shue's hand froze in midair. He did not know whether to advance or retreat. Shue wasn't afraid that the mother of Bloodbath would push him away when he hugged it. He was afraid that his actions would scare the mother of Bloodbath. Looking at the red-haired, red-eyed man, who looked just like him, tears welled up in his eyes. For some reason, the mother of Bloodbath's heart softened. The firm feelings in his heart surged violently like a tsunami. The mother of Bloodbath understood the man's tears. The family in front of him hadn't forgotten him. For such a situation to occur, it was obvious that he had his own difficulties. Otherwise, how could his father travel thousands of miles? He clearly knew that this was very abrupt, but he still rashly flew directly into the sky above the capital. He would never look at her lovingly. Even now, his eyes were still dripping with hot tears. As a fae, especially an arachnid fae that was very apathetic to emotions, it was a rare treasure. The mother of Bloodbath knew that if it wasn't for its emotions rushing over like a tsunami, it wouldn't have been able to survive. No matter how good an arachnid fae's acting skills were, it would not be able to make itself cry. The mother of Bloodbath looked at Shue's open hand, which was in a dilemma. He gently stepped forward and gave Shue a hug. The mother of Bloodbath's actions startled Shue. Shue hugged the mother of Bloodbath's waist and laughed wildly. "We found our daughter. I finally found my daughter. You go away. Our child is still alive." Shue's outpouring of emotions made the mother of Bloodbath understand even more how important he was to Shue. Lan Lian and Bai Feng also had tears in their eyes. On the one hand, he was happy for the safety of the blood. On the one hand, she was happy that she had found Sister Yu Gui's child. On the other hand, he was happy for Sister Ziqing. If Xueqing could be safely born in the blessed heavens mansion, the one who dotes on Xueqing the most must be big Sister Ziqing. After a long time, Shue was finally willing to let go of the mother of Bloodbath's embrace. Blue Lotus said softly to the mother of Bloodbath, "Child, before your mother gave birth to you, she named you Xueqing. She loves you just like your father. If you miss her, you can go to the Radiance's lava field to see her. Every trace of fire element in the lava field is formed from her flesh and blood." These words should have been said by Shue to the mother of Bloodbath. However, Blue Lotus did not want Shue and the Mother of Bloodbath to talk for a while. Whenever the Mother of Bloodbath asked, Shue would recall. This was too cruel for Shue. He might as well tell the Mother of Bloodbath everything here. Based on Blue Lotus's understanding, after finding the Mother of Bloodbath, the Mother of Bloodbath would not be able to escape. At the very least, you have to let the Mother of Bloodbath know that your father and mother never stopped loving you. Only then would the Mother of Bloodbath understand. From the beginning to the end, he was not alone. Upon hearing Blue Lotus words, the Mother of Bloodbath's heart immediately tightened. The legendary Scorpio jade spider that had transformed into a land of lava was indeed his mother. When Lin Yuan heard Blue Lotus's words, his heart was slightly moved. The lava land was formed from the flesh and blood of the Mother of Bloodbath's mother. The Mother of Bloodbath's soul must still be in the lava. Upon seeing the Mother of Bloodbath's reddened eyes, Lin Yuan stepped forward and said, "It's not a big deal. Do you still remember what I told you when you formed a contract with the Myriad Medicine Spring?" Just as Lin Yuan walked forward, the gazes of Blue Lotus, Shue, and Bai Feng had already landed on Lin Yuan. All three of them felt a faint connection between Lin Yuan and the Mother of Bloodbath's blood law. This meant that the Mother of Bloodbath had made some kind of oath to Lin Yuan. This feeling was like losing a child and finding the child after decades. He found out that his child had become someone else's child bride. Upon hearing that, the Mother of Bloodbath's eyes suddenly lit up. Looking at Shue, Blue Lotus, and White Phoenix's gazes at Lin Yuan, the Mother of Bloodbath spoke. "He's the one who saved me twice. If not for Lin Yuan, I would have died under the world cleansing when I reached Myth 2. And it's even more impossible for him to have the chance to awaken his bloodline. After reaching Myth 2, he helped me with all the resources I needed to increase my strength, including the preparations to awaken the favored spirit when I advanced from the peak of Myth 2 to Myth 3. XQQXS, when I awakened the favored spirit bloodline, he saved my life several times. I'm his path protector, and he is my benefactor." As it spoke, the Mother of Bloodbath took a step closer to Lin Yuan. This action of the Mother of Bloodbath was expressing its stance. Although it did not say anything harsh, it told Shue, Blue Lotus, and White Phoenix. Lin Yuan's help to it. By taking a step closer to Lin Yuan, it was expressing, "If I have to choose, I will still stand on Lin Yuan's side. I know that I have a father and I know that I have a family. However, if you make him your enemy, we can only live on our own in the future." Shue and the other two were surprised by the Mother of Bloodbath's attitude and determination. They knew that there was a problem with their attitudes. If it was really as the Mother of Bloodbath said, then this ordinary-looking youth had always been helping the Mother of Bloodbath. Then her and Yu Gui's child could live to this day and recognize her. It was all thanks to the youth in front of them. This youth was not only the benefactor of her and Yu Gui's child, he was also their benefactor. At the same time, he was the benefactor of the heaven-blessed dojo. After understanding this, Shue, Blue Lotus, and White Phoenix immediately looked at Lin Yuan with friendly gazes. Bai Feng immediately plucked at her hair. 3 pitch-black phoenix feathers appeared in Bai Feng's hand. Bai Feng did not say anything and handed the 3 phoenix feathers in her hand to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan was at a loss for a moment. He did not know whether he should accept the 3 bird feathers handed to him by the fishnet uncle. Mystic Moon and Old Man Spacetime looked at each other. Old Man Time was a little envious of Lin Yuan. The heaven-blessed dojo's hall masters seemed to be a little rash, but they were all passionate people. Bai Feng was a narcissist who loved her feathers the most. Now that she had plucked off the phoenix feathers and given them to Lin Yuan, it was enough to show how grateful she was to Lin Yuan. Seeing that Lin Yuan did not accept the phoenix feathers, Bai Feng looked like she wanted to stuff the phoenix feathers into Lin Yuan's hands. Old Man Spacetime could be sure that Bai Feng gave Lin Yuan the phoenix feathers. It was not to thank Lin Yuan for his help to the Mother of Bloodbath. Instead, it was a subconscious action out of gratitude. The Moon Empress move was really brilliant. She used this method to let her disciple build a relationship with the entire heaven-blessed dojo. Chapter 1547. When Bai Feng saw that Lin Yuan had no intention of asking her to hand over the feather, she looked very anxious. He could not help but say, "Why don't you want my fur? My fur is very useful." An exaggerated expression appeared on Bai Feng's face as she spoke. It was as if he had been insulted. It was as though if Lin Yuan didn't take the feathers, he wouldn't give him face. Bai Feng's reaction made Lin Yuan completely confused. Lin Yuan knew that the strange man in front of him was essentially a favored spirit, even a mud that was rubbed off the body of the heavenly chosen. This was because the keratin that contained the spirit of heavenly favor was a rare treasure. The black feather plucked from the head of the strange, middle-aged man, wearing a fishing net suit, was no exception. If Bai Feng only wanted to give him something, he would not refuse. However, the premise of White Phoenix giving him something was to thank him for helping the mother of Bloodbath. This made Lin Yuan unwilling to accept it. Xue Shuo was the mother of Bloodbath's father, and Bai Feng could be said to be the mother of Bloodbath's uncle. However, the mother of Bloodbath was also his Dao protector. Bai Feng's actions were tantamount to taking the initiative to help the mother of Bloodbath feel grateful to him. When he had helped the mother of Bloodbath, he had never thought of repaying it. In his opinion, Bai Feng's actions were tantamount to tarnishing his relationship with the mother of Bloodbath. The mother of Bloodbath had already made its stance clear by standing beside him. Therefore, no matter how one looked at it, Bai Feng's actions were inappropriate. Upon seeing Lin Yuan's ugly expression, Bai Feng immediately reacted. It was true that he had not thought things through. Bai Feng hurriedly pulled it off her head. This time, Bai Feng plucked a lot of hair. A large clump of black silk turned into a handful of black feathers. In the end, Bai Feng waved a hand and transformed the feathers into a black feather fan. Bai Feng said to Lin Yuan solemnly, "This is not a thank you gift. I just want to express my gratitude to you. I might feel better if you took it." This time, Bai Feng's words were very sincere. Upon seeing that Bai Feng's expression did not seem to be fake, Lin Yuan's expression became better. At this moment, Mystic Moon stepped forward. He looked at the folding fan made of bird feathers in Bai Feng's hand and said to Lin Yuan, "Little Highness, since this is his kind intentions, please accept it. Night Leaning Moon really needs this feather that contains the dense power of night." Xianyu wasn't someone who didn't know her limits. At this time, Xianyu actually said this in front of the meeting. It was clear that Night Leaning Moon really needed this black feather. Mystic Moon thought to herself as she looked at the black feather fan in Lin Yuan's hand. It seems like Night Leaning Moon owes Little Highness a huge favor from now on. Night Leaning Moon's two main fays were stuck at that realm. He was unable to take another step forward. The power of night was an extremely rare power. This power was born from the darkness, but it was completely different from the dark elements. Night Leaning Moon wanted to refine the power of night through her sacred source life form. On the other hand, he could convert large amounts of darkness attribute spiritual materials. Although doing so could indeed produce a large amount of night power, it was impossible. However, the power of night created in this way was not pure enough. In the world, those who possessed the purest power of night were the heavenly spirits that belonged to the night. Bai Feng was able to extract the purest power of the night from the darkness. The power of night that Bai Feng usually absorbed was stored in the feathers on her body. There were at least 300 feathers on the feather fan in Lin Yuan's hand. Night Leaning Moon only needed half of the feathers to use the pure power of night in these feathers. She could use her main phase to break through that threshold. If he gave the entire feather fan to Night Leaning Moon. Apart from a main phase, Night Leaning Moon's other phase might also be able to borrow its power. She could complete a breakthrough in strength and upgrade her bloodline. It wasn't that Night Leaning Moon didn't have designs on Bai Feng before. Moreover, Night Leaning Moon had indeed sought out Bai Feng and proposed a trade with her. However, Bai Feng was a miser who cherished her feathers as much as her life. Night Leaning Moon had repeatedly proposed to exchange for Bai Feng's feathers, but Bai Feng had rejected her every time. This made Night Leaning Moon very angry. If Night Leaning Moon was a wandering expert who didn't belong to any federation, Night-leaning moon could have designs on Bai Feng in secret. She could have plucked the feathers from Bai Feng's body. If they really fought, Night-leaning moon should be slightly stronger than Bai Feng. However, as the Radiance Empress, she belonged to the Radiance Federation. If she rashly found trouble with Bai Feng, it would definitely cause the Radiance Federation and the Heaven-Blessed Mansion to become sworn enemies. Therefore, after so many years, Night-leaning moon had given up on further plans. Now, everything was easily solved. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan didn't insist. Since Bai Feng's feathers were useful to Night-leaning moon, Bai Feng was also willing to give them. Lin Yuan was willing to fight for a chance for Night-leaning moon to break through. When Bai Feng saw that Lin Yuan had accepted her feathers, she stood there happily and touched her hair. After feeling that her hair volume had decreased, Bai Feng's face immediately collapsed. The real batch. Bai Feng couldn't help but feel a little regretful. Of all the things that she could give, why did she have to pluck the feathers? However, if Lin Yuan really said it, he would ask Bai Feng for the feathers. No matter how unwilling Bai Feng was, she still had to give them. Lan Lian looked at Bai Feng, who looked dispirited. He walked in front of Lin Yuan and placed his palm on Lin Yuan's forehead. Then, Lin Yuan felt as though his whole body was soaked in an ice spring. The water elements kept gathering around him, making Lin Yuan feel abnormally comfortable. A blue lotus pattern appeared on Lin Yuan's forehead. Each petal of this lotus pattern was like a wave that was like a cicada's wing. Blue Lotus said softly to Lin Yuan, "I gave you a blue sea blessing. I gave you a blessing of the blue sea. With the protection of the blessing of the blue sea, as long as you are in a place with water elements, the water elements will automatically protect you. In the water, you can breathe freely. Powerful water type, phase, might not have a good impression of you. But there won't be any phase made of water element energy that will take the initiative to attack you. For 10 years, the water element will be your best friend." Blue Lotus's words made Mystic Moon's eyebrows jump. He didn't expect that the Blue Lotus would give Lin Yuan a chance to become the eternal favored spirit. She could only use the Blue Sea Blessing once every 10 years. For 10 years, the water element would be Lin Yuan's most intimate partner. If it was a water-type Fae and Blue Lotus had used the Blue Sea Blessing. If it was a water-type Fae and Blue Lotus had used the Blue Sea Blessing, then it would not consume any spiritual materials and would not work hard. In 10 years, it would be able to transform from normal to human form. Even if it was a water-type Fae with poor aptitude, it could become a myth under the Blue Sea Blessing. When faced with a water-type Fae with excellent aptitude and willing to work hard, with the protection of the Blue Sea Blessing for 10 years, it was not impossible to become a creation Fae. Blue Lotus and White Phoenix's actions made Mystic Moon and Elder Spacetime feel the Blue Lotus's Blue Sea Blessing. How sincere they were. Chapter 1548. In his opinion, the Blue Sea Blessing did not have much effect on him. The princess with the sacred sword in her arms, the princess robe engraved into the vast water world. Aquatic phase below the creation breed used water elemental energy to attack him. He could resist the sacred sword wielding queen's water element resistance. Furthermore, Lin Yuan was not an aquatic fae. The Blue Sea Blessing could not allow him to rapidly increase his strength like a water-type fae. However, it could make his skin more moisturized and better. In his opinion, the Blue Sea Blessing was only slightly useful. The Blue Sea Blessing was probably the only thing that could prevent him from receiving hostility from aquatic phase. As a matter of fact, not all of the phase that used the water element as their source of energy lived in water. Some terrestrial phase could also use water as their source of energy. It could be said that in the eyes of these phase, within 10 years, Lin Yuan would be the most fragrant cake. When it came to Xue Shuo did not take out anything. Instead, he looked at Lin Yuan and said very sincerely, "You are my daughter's savior, so you are also my savior." After saying that, Xue pointed to the sun above his head. The 8 sun chains descended from his sun. Xue said solemnly, standing between the 8 winding suns. "I, Xue swear by the sun. For the rest of my life, I will be Lin Yuan's protector. Xue Shua's words stunned the mother of Bloodbath, Lin Yuan, the space-time elder, and Mystic Moon. The mother of Bloodbath was shocked that her father was doing this for the sake of her savior. He was actually willing to sacrifice the rest of his life. Just from this, the mother of Bloodbath knew how much Xue Shua loved her. On the other hand, Mystic Moon and the Space-Time Elder were shocked by the fact that the Hall Master of the Heaven's Blessed Mansion, one of the top factions in the Origin world, was the Heaven's Blessed Mansion. How could Xue Shua swear on the celestial phenomenon of the Sea Clan so easily? In the eyes of Mystic Moon and the Space-Time Elder, this was an extremely reckless action. No matter how grateful he was, his status was still there. According to Mystic Moon and the Space-Time Elder's understanding, when one stood in a certain position and took on a certain identity, the Space-Time Elder would not be able to control himself. He couldn't do things as he pleased. However, Blue Lotus and White Phoenix did not stop Xue Sha. Instead, the expression on his face was very normal. This made Mystic Moon and the Space-Time Elder realize how casual the blessed spirits were. How sentimental. No wonder it was rumored that after the death of the celestial Corona Jade Spider, the Grand Master of the Blessed Heaven Dojo, Ziqing, risked half her life and went to the Pagoda Cannon alone, killing the fate page of the Pagoda Cannon. Lin Yuan scratched his head awkwardly. The mother of Bloodbath was his path protector, and Xue Shua had also become his path protector. If that was the case, then Blood Beginning and the mother of Bloodbath would have to fight. Wouldn't they become colleagues? Xue Shua, who had made an oath with the sun, arrived in front of Lin Yuan and said, "Let's go. I can see that Shao Qing will never leave you. I might as well become your protector to thank you for saving little Qing's life and for helping her so many times. Thank you. From now on, I will do my best to protect you on your journey on the wind." Xue Shua looked at Lan Lian and Bai Feng as he spoke. "When you go back, help me tell Sister Ziqing that I won't be returning to Heaven-Blessed Mansion within 100 years. Xue Shua had made it clear that he wanted to protect Lin Yuan for 100 years. The one who was the most excited was Xianyu. A Heaven's Blessed Mansion master became Lin Yuan's protector. From today onwards, Lin Yuan was bound to the Heaven-Blessed Mansion. Furthermore, this bond was very strong. Xianyu could see that Xue Shua was a blessed spirit that had achieved eternal. Although Xue Shua's aura was much weaker than Lan Lian and Bai Feng's. However, a blessed spirit had achieved eternal, and an ordinary Fey had achieved eternal. They could not be mentioned in the same breath. A blessed spirit that had just achieved eternal had the strength to crush a pinnacle eternal Fey. A pinnacle eternal Fey could even go toe-to-toe with an eternal Fey. The special nature of a blessed spirit was the Heaven-Blessed Mansion's confidence. It was also the fundamental reason why the Heaven-Blessed Mansion could stand proudly in the world and become a faction on par with the three major federations. Among the three major federations, the Heaven-Blessed Mansion's reputation was not inferior to the Pagoda Cannon. Given the blessed spirit's unity and unwavering personality, Xue Shua had become Lin Yuan's protector. Lan Lian and Bai Feng had acknowledged Lin Yuan. Lan Lian and Bai Feng's attitude was enough to represent the other blessed spirits. Looking at Space-Time Elder, who was commanding the ethereal mother shellfish, Xianyu said, "Lord Space-Time, there's nothing for you to do here. Right now, one of the Hall Masters of the Blessed Dojo has become the protector of our young highness. This is a private matter of our Radiant Moon Palace. I'll bring them to the Leaning Moon Mountain. There's no need for them to wait in the Ascending Dragon City." The Space-Time Elder curled his lips. Damn it! The mysterious moon emissary was telling this old man to get lost. If it were any other time, Elder Space-Time would definitely argue with Mystic Moon. But now, Xianyu had also reached that level. The Space-Time old man scoffed. "The Moon Empress has yet to come out of seclusion, but she brought all the people from the Heaven-Blessed Dojo to the Leaning Moon Mountain. Isn't it against the rules for the host to host a banquet without going out?" Mystic Moon patted Lin Yuan's shoulder and said, "Your Highness is also our Radiant Moon Palace's Palace Master. With the young lord around, even if the Moon Empress doesn't come out of seclusion, there are no guests that cannot be entertained. It just so happens that Night Leaning Moon is also on Leaning Moon Mountain. If you want to thank someone, you can thank Night Leaning Moon first. The Space-Time Elder was slightly surprised at Lin Yuan's position in Mystic Moon's heart. The Space-Time Elder never expected that Mystic Moon would think so highly of Lin Yuan. She had moved Lin Yuan to a position comparable to the Moon Empress. Her disciple had already grown to a level where he could hold his own. Meanwhile, his granddaughter had not even tamed a sacred source life form. She could only seal the sacred source life form and undergo training. With that thought, the Space-Time Elder waved his hand and recalled the ethereal Mother Shellfish. With a flick of his sleeve, he returned to the Hump Valley where Ostrich Logistics was located. Although the Space-Time Elder had left, the cover in the sky was still there. Dense spiritual energy formed a curtain that covered the sky. It covered the figures of Mystic Moon, Lin Yuan, Xue Shuo, and the others. The mother of Bloodbath forcibly suppressed the throbbing in its heart and did not tell Xue Shuo that Lin Yuan had revived its mother. This was because this matter was too important to its father, Xue Shuo. It was too important. The mother of Bloodbath could not bear to let its father have hope. Not long after, the hope in its heart would once again be dashed. This would undoubtedly cause a second injury to its father. At that moment, the mother of Bloodbath saw Lin Yuan give it a look. The mother of Bloodbath immediately knew that Lin Yuan intended to take it to the field to see the situation. They wanted to see if they could collect its mother's soul before making further plans. Right at this moment, even though it was noon, a full moon suddenly appeared in the sky. Chapter 1549. At that moment, thousands of moonlight chains descended from a bright moon. They smashed the 8 sun chains that Xue Shuo had led down. A wolf-like howl came from the direction of the Radiant Moon Palace. It resounded over the entire royal capital. This howl was neither cunning nor violent. It was clearly a howl, but it sounded very cold. There was a trace of arrogance in the coldness. This howl made the other High Lords look in the direction of the Radiant Moon Palace at the same time. In a palace of cooking incense, an old man was so angry that he was glaring. He shouted at a middle-aged man, "Li Zhonglin, I'm not just your master. You married my daughter, and you still have to call me father. Look at what you've done. I only have 1 sow left of my kitchen spirit fragrant pig. You've taken all the other kitchen spirit fragrant pigs. Where do you want me to find a boar to breed with? Are you going to breed with it?" Hearing the old man's angry roar, the middle-aged man pouted and said, "Master, you have to say this every time you see me. Master, you have to say this to me every time you meet me. Isn't it all in the past now?" The old man felt a little dizzy from anger. "It's all in the past. I thought it was all in the past. But why did you King uproot all my 7 revolution citronella?" The middle-aged man said matter-of-factly, "Master, the Radiance 100 sequence test is coming soon. I plan to practice a few more specialties and cook a table for little Yuan. That child's parents are no longer around. Jiao Jiao and I never had a child. Little Lin Yuan and little Chu Ci are no different from our children. We watched them grow up." At the mention of Lin Yuan, Chef Supreme stopped talking. Usually, Chef Supreme would say, "You can cook for whoever you want. You can cook for whomever you like. But why did you use my 7 revolution citronella? After eating the spirit fragrant pig, I didn't expect that my 7 revolution citronella would be uprooted one day." However, because of Lin Yuan, Zhong Zhe suppressed his bad luck. And in the future, it was very likely that the bad luck would be completely eliminated. Chef Supreme had a total of 3 disciples. The first disciple was unruly, and the second only knew how to open a restaurant chain. Supreme Chef placed all his hopes on Zhong Zhe. Therefore, Chef Supreme kept Lin Yuan's help in his heart. At this moment, a wolf howl rang in Supreme Chef's ears. Supreme Chef narrowed his eyes and sighed. The Moon Empress favored spirit, the Saint Weeping Moon Beast, has actually broken through to that realm. Now, there is finally a second heavenly chosen spirit in the origin world that has crossed that threshold. At this point, Supreme Chef put his hand on his beard and gently stroked it. He was deep in thought. When the holy weeping moon beast was with the moon empress, it wasn't outstanding among the heaven-blessed dojo's many dojo lords. The moon empress' help was definitely related to him being able to reach this stage. It seemed like the moon empress creation master standard had improved tremendously. The younger generation will surpass us in time. However, he also had a unique skill that he had yet to reveal. It must be the same with Bamboo Monarch. Everyone was concealing their strength, not revealing it. But at the crucial moment, this group of old friends would always surprise each other. He was surprisingly reliable. The bright moon represented the moon empress. This was common knowledge in the hearts of all Radiance people. For the past 10 years, the bright moon in the sky rarely moved. It was only in the recent year that the bright moon in the sky started to move more often. But now, the moonlight was falling on the royal capital. This was the first time that the royal capital was wrapped in thousands of moonlight ribbons. Many people on the street had already raised their hands and shouted for the moon empress. Lin Yuan and Mystic Moon's faces were filled with joy. The moon in the sky was changing, which meant that the moon empress should be out of seclusion. At this moment, Lin Yuan's phone rang. Lin Yuan looked at his phone and saw that it was his master, the moon empress. Lin Yuan quickly picked up the phone. The moon empress said softly, "Little Yuan, master is out of seclusion. Little Yuan, master is out of seclusion. When you have time to come to the Radiant Moon Palace, master has prepared delicious food for you." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan revealed a bright smile on his face. His small white teeth dazzled Mystic Moon a little. "Master, I am with Uncle Mystic. We're preparing to go over. There are also a few heaven-blessed dojo masters here. They say they want to visit you at the Radiant Moon Palace. The mother of Bloodbath's father is among them." When the Moon Empress heard that, she knew that she was in seclusion. The mother of Bloodbath had successfully awakened the Sky Corona Jade spider bloodline in its body. Shueshua had rushed over by sensing the bloodline. He knew that the mother of Bloodbath was his long-lost daughter. It seemed that his initial plan for Lin Yuan as a path protector had succeeded. He raised his hand and looked at the moonlight that had condensed into a moonlight scepter. The Moon Queen shook her head. Previously, the Moon Empress knew that her days were numbered. Therefore, he put in a lot of effort to plan for Lin Yuan. But now, that crescent moon finally collapsed. The Moon Empress didn't dare to say that there wasn't anyone stronger than her in this world. Even the other majesties of the Hui Yao Empire had their own trump cards. No one could say who was stronger and who was weaker if they didn't use their full strength until it was a matter of life and death. Now, even if the Moon Empress did not plan anything for Lin Yuan, she could not help him. It could still allow Lin Yuan to walk on equal footing with Blue Moon. Although she had such confidence, when the Moon Empress encountered a fortuitous encounter, she would definitely not be able to do so. She still wouldn't stop planning for Lin Yuan. It was unknown if it was the urgency of having only 3 years of lifespan that affected the Moon Empress, or after accepting Lin Yuan as a disciple, her responsibility as a master affected the Moon Empress. In short, the Moon Empress found the most suitable path to be Lin Yuan's master. In the Moon Empress' opinion, this path was very simple. Lin Yuan had his own adventurous nature. He didn't like to rely on others. As his master, she only needed to be strong enough to be Lin Yuan's backer forever. At that moment, a huge white wolf was crawling at the Moon Empress' feet. The wolf's fur was slender, light, and full of moonlight. The wolf's eyes were like 2 bright moons, and there were 2 clear blue tear grooves. A little rabbit was standing on top of the wolf's head. It was gnawing on the carrot. As it gnawed, its aura was constantly rising. A flickering fluorescent lattice flew out from the top of the little rabbit's head. For a moment, surging power poured out of the Radiant Moon Palace. Just as this aura was about to pierce the sky, the Moon Empress stretched out her hand and rotated her fingers. Tens of thousands of moonlight chains extended endlessly from the sky. They fell into the Radiant Moon Palace, wrapping the entire Radiant Moon Palace into a cocoon. Inside the cocoon, the Moon Empress spoke to the Moonlight Wolf. Holy Weeping Moon Beast, release your aura to your heart's content and shine with the bright moon. After taking this step, as long as you can take another step forward, you can also be like Zishi and manifest your life providence. As she spoke, the Moon Empress sighed. The Moon Empress did not expect Zishi to be affected by her breakthrough on top of its original foundation. She took another step forward. Even Zishi's sacred source life form was enhanced. Chapter 1550. Zishi's breakthrough in strength was not just the Moon Empress' confidence. At the same time, it was Hui Yao's trump card. In particular, he found out from the phone that the 3 heaven-blessed mansion masters were in the capital. Thus, the Moon Empress made a move to suppress Zishi's aura. When the Holy Weeping Moon Beast heard the Moon Empress' command, it let out another howl. Holy Wolf howls to the moon. At that moment, everyone in the Radiance Royal Capital saw a huge wolf-head phantom appear behind Mingyu. 2 streaks of azure tears flowed out of the crescent-shaped eyes of the giant wolf. Like a stream, it filled her tears and flowed towards the bright moon. It was as if these tears had gathered to form the bright moon in the sky. The bright moon became even brighter under the giant wolf's tears. In an instant, the moonlight around the bright moon seemed to burn intensely. A large amount of moonlight turned into flames, completely covering the radiance of the sun. The moonlight flames flowed back into the giant wolf's eyes, burning them. Then, the color of the giant wolf's eyes slowly darkened. Finally, it turned into a dark gold color. 3 crescent moons rotated in the giant wolf's eyes. It was as if a day had passed as the bright moon rotated in the giant wolf's eyes. Lin Yuan, who was staring into the behemoth's eyes, felt as though the bright moon was rotating in the behemoth's eyes. He felt as if he had aged. But soon, the crescent moon in the giant beast's eyes reversed. The 3 crescent moons converged into a full moon. At that moment, everyone in Hui Yao felt that their vitality had been replenished. Even his body became more and more energetic. Xian Yu said softly, "The holy weeping lunar beast has activated full moon's gaze." Under the gaze of the full moon stare, everyone has absorbed a drop of the holy weeping moon beast tear. The 10,000 tears of the weeping holy moon beast are the main ingredient for 1 moon dew recovery pill. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan was about to lament how many moon dew revival pills this was equivalent to giving away. Bai Feng sighed in shock. "This is impossible. Even Holy Weep's talent is inferior to mine. How could Holy Sob reach Sister Zi Qing's level?" Lan Lian sighed faintly. "Bai Feng, you still bear grudges. Back then, Saint Weep left the Blessed Paradise Mansion in order to find a better future for himself. I don't want to be limited by my talent and be mediocre all my life." Holy Sob willingly followed the Moon Empress. Now that Holy Sob has really obtained an opportunity from the Moon Empress, we should be happy for Big Sister Holy Sob. When you were young, Sister Holy Weep plucked your hair. But isn't that because your hair was stained with the ice mist, cold devouring mist? If you don't pluck that strand of hair that has been contaminated by the devouring cold mist, you'll definitely fall sick. Xue Shuo did not know Holy Weep. This was because when Xue Shuo joined the Blessed Mansion, Holy Sob was no longer there. Xue Shuo could feel the moonlight released by the moon in the sky. He had completely blocked the communication between himself and the sun, and this was under the condition that Yu Hua didn't target him. Xue Shuo wasn't sure. Could the sun still send down the sun chain? Xue Shuo felt that even if he could, he was afraid that it would be like a chain descending from the sun. It should only be as thick as a finger. Previously, Xue Shuo had always felt that the radiance of the sun in the sky would always suppress the moon. But now, it seemed that this was not the case. This allowed Xue Shuo to see his future and the path he was going to take. This was because Xue Shuo could feel that the blessed spirit Holy Weeping Moon Beast was not communicating with the moon. It was letting the moon descend its power. Instead, it was on the same level as the moon. It was shining with the moon. The power triggered by the blessed spirit Holy Weeping's breakthrough would be rewarded by the whole world. Big Sister Ziching must already know about Holy Sob's situation and be happy for Holy Sob. At this moment, all kinds of Gales gathered at Radiance, which had become the gathering place of the Gales. This was a situation that all the major factions had intentionally created by chance and coincidence. Before arriving at Radiance, Shui, Shaw, Blue Lotus, and White Phoenix were cleaning up the Tower Cannon stronghold. They received news that experts from the Tower Cannon were rushing to Radiance. The Tower Cannon and the Freedom Federation were both enemies of Radiance. If these two parties gathered together, they would not cause trouble in Radiance. This was obviously impossible. Perhaps the two parties would even join forces. The Azure Federation's current stance was unknown. The main purpose of the Blessed Mansion coming to Radiance was to find the new blessed spirit, Holy Weeping Moon Beast, that could absorb the weather. Secondly, it was to help Shui Shua find his lost daughter. Now, the mother of Bloodbath had been found. Their remaining goal seemed to be to find the blessed spirit, Holy Weeping Moon Beast. However, facing the people from the Tower Cannon, Blue Lotus, White Phoenix, and Shui Shua would definitely find it. They would fight to the death. The already chaotic situation was now suppressed by the phenomenon of the Holy Weeping Moon Beast breaking through to the eternal realm and shining with the moon. A blessed spirit, Holy Weeping Moon Beast above the eternal realm, was already a peak expert in the world. However, this blessed spirit, Holy Weeping Moon Beast, did not belong to the Blessed Mansion, but to the Moon Empress. With the Holy Weeping Moon Beast in the open, this chaotic situation was destined to be suppressed. However, the calmer the water, the deeper the undercurrent. It was unknown what kind of changes this deep and calm water would bring to Radiance. At this moment, the moonlight chains that had wrapped the radiant moon palace into a cocoon had already dissipated. The Holy Weeping Moon Beast, which was looked up to by all the experts in the world, was trembling in front of a little white rabbit. The last ray of purple intent was restrained by Z. She into her eyes. Z. She flicked her ears and placed the carrot in a safe position behind her. Then she used her little tail to gently cover the carrot leaf. Z. She had done this because she had learned from the Moon Empress that Lin Yuan was coming. Previously, when facing Lin Yuan, Z. She could completely ignore him. However, Lin Yuan had saved the Moon Empress, whose lifespan was short, and brought her a lifespan rat. He had also taken out pure spirit chi that even the Moon Empress could not concoct. It was also because of the pure spirit chi that Lin Yuan had taken out that Z. She could improve further. Thus, if Lin Yuan really asked Z. She for the carrot, Z. She really had no way to refuse. At this moment, someone knocked on the Moon Empress' bedroom door. Night Leaning Moon walked in. Night Leaning Moon looked at the Moon Empress and said, "Congratulations." "Congratulations. Looks like we were worried for nothing. You have succeeded in taking that step. Your lifespan crisis has been resolved." As she spoke, Night Leaning Moon's voice gradually became choked. If someone said that she was the chief guard of the spirit guards, the stone-faced Night Leaning Moon would choke. Even if other High Lords heard it, they would definitely treat it as a joke or a rumor. However, in front of the Moon Empress, Night Leaning Moon shed all her coldness. Just like back then, when the Moon Empress and Night Leaning Moon became Radiance envoys together. It was the same when Night Leaning Moon congratulated the Moon Empress. It was just that back then, she was not mature enough and made a fool of herself. Just as Night Leaning Moon was reminiscing about the past, she heard the Moon Empress smile gently at her. "Qingwei, thank you for guarding me in the Radiant Moon Palace. You helped me suppress my aura when I was breaking through." Night Leaning Moon looked at the Moon Empress smile in a daze. It was just like when she was young and looked at the Moon Empress smile in a daze. End of this chapter. Chapter 1551. On top of the head of a sea snake that was nearly a kilometer long, a little lowly in Girl Next Door attire sat there. The little lowly looked at the phantom wolf head behind the moon. The expression on his face became solemn. Behind the little lowly stood an uncle who gave off the feeling that he was exceptionally righteous. The uncle looked down at the little lowly and snorted. Second page revival. The Moon Empress, Holy Weeping Moon Beast, has broken through to the eternal realm. Can you defeat the Holy Weeping Moon Beast above the eternal realm? Don't forget how the Page of Destiny was killed by that old fox from the heaven-blessed mansion. After all, when the Page of Destiny died, you were the only one by his side. Hearing this, the little lowly stood up. Her eyes instantly turned gray, and a gray mist filled with the aura of death emanated from her body. A pair of gray wings extended from the little lowly's back. The giant sea snake under her feet was infected by the aura of death. In an instant, its flesh and blood melted, turning into ghastly white bones that fell to the bottom of the sea. Second Page Revival said coldly, "Sixth Page Whip, I don't want to talk to you anymore. You just need to follow Crimson Page's instructions and activate the Black Mass Cup in the Radiance. You don't need to do anything else." The Page of Destiny was killed by Zi Qing, but that doesn't mean I'm afraid of the Holy Weeping Moon Beast. The four horsemen have left the Renaissance Tower and are on their way to the Radiance. The Tower Cannon has already planted the seed of the Hibernators' revival. Due to the conflict between the Freedom Federation and the Radiance Federation, they took the initiative to contact the Tower Cannon. Second Page Revival paused for a moment before continuing. Sixth Page Whip, before activating the Black Mass Cup, you will hide among the Freedom Federation's envoys. I will act on my own and find out where the seeds of the Garter Konjac are. Sixth Page Whip said with a gloomy expression. The seeds and ramets of the Garter Konjac have disappeared. This means that something big must have happened to the Whale Ocean trade. Second Page Revival. You always said that Seventh Page War is incompetent. But your plan for the Radiance Federation is not as successful as Seventh Page War. At the very least, Seventh Page War successfully used the sacred source life form to open the dimensional rift in the Radiance Federation Sea region. Lashing Page 6 words stabbed right into Page 2's sore spot. Second Page Revival flapped the wings on his back and moved away from Sixth Page Whipping in a flash. Seeing this, Sixth Page's whip didn't chase after him. Instead, he stood in place, waiting for the arrival of the Freedom Federation's diplomatic mission. Looking at the turbulent sea, Sixth Page Whipping had a feeling that something was amiss. He was clearly one of the 8 pages of the Pagoda Cannon. But why did he always feel like there was a pair of large hands behind his back controlling him? Moreover, ever since Crimson Page appeared, Second Renaissance Page's attitude towards Crimson Page had changed. It was really interesting. It was as if he had become a lackey of Crimson Page. He almost called out to Scarlet Page. Suddenly, a sly smile appeared on Sixth Page Whipping's face as he muttered, "I can't understand the Pagoda Manual anymore. Why must the 8 pages of the Pagoda Cannon stand on the Pagoda Cannon's side during this gathering? I want to see what the Second Page of Revival is planning. Who exactly is Scarlet Page?" Thinking of this, the Sixth Page Whip didn't continue to wait for the Freedom Federation's diplomatic mission to arrive. Instead, he chose another direction and headed toward Hui Yao alone. In the Freedom Temple, the Holy Weeping Moon Beast had broken through to the Eternal Realm because of the moon phenomenon. It was a rare occasion for the Freedom Federation to have 9 people gathered together. Before the service, the 9 men held a meeting. Du Miao frowned as he looked at the sky and the illusory wolf head behind the moon. Hui Yao now has one more pinnacle powerhouse. The Blessed Dojo will definitely use this opportunity to contact Hui Yao. With the Holy Weeping Lunar Beast in the middle, the Radiance Federation and the Heaven-Blessed Dojo might form an alliance. I heard from the diplomatic mission that the Azure Federation is unwilling to cooperate with our Freedom Federation. Ever since the world was divided, there hasn't been a change in 1,000 years. We should take action against Hui Yao in advance. The other majesties fiddled with the items in their hands and pondered. Currently, the Freedom Federation and the Radiance Federation had a 2-year agreement. Now that the Radiance Glory's peak combat power had been strengthened, it wouldn't benefit the Freedom Federation at all. Thus, the Freedom Federation had to take action. However, it was necessary to discuss what kind of method to take. Since the previous conflict, only Du Miao had fought against Hui Yao in the past 10 years. Du Miao used the sacred source life form, boiling platycodon, to activate a big move above Hui Yao. It triggered the volcano phenomenon. In the end, it was stopped by the Radiance Federation. It could be said that most of Hui Yao's hatred was concentrated on Du Miao. Thus, all the majesties were waiting for Du Miao to make the first suggestion. This way, Du Miao would have to bear most of the expenses of this operation against Hui Yao. The Freedom Federation prioritized private interests. Every meeting before the week was a game of resources. Seeing that the others had no intention of responding to him, Du Miao's face revealed anger. If you guys don't want to interfere in this matter, I won't bother either. However, don't regret the Myriad States Convention in 2 years. At that moment, a middle-aged man in a red robe spoke. As for the Radiance Federation's layout in 2 years, it has already been arranged during the previous meeting. Du Miao doesn't need to worry about the rest of us. The experts of the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids clan have already left for the Radiance sect. The Radiance sect will definitely not let this matter go lightly. Du Miao, I'm afraid that all the resources you've invested in the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids clan will be wasted. When the man spoke, his face revealed a gloating expression. When Du Miao heard that, his pupils constricted. Last time, he decided to bring the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids to the Freedom Federation's seas to recuperate. This indeed involved the interests of the others. But Du Miao didn't think that the others would actually hold a grudge. He didn't even know the contents of the meeting afterwards. But Du Miao didn't mind not knowing this. Everyone here is the Freedom Federation's majesty, sitting together on this seat. Not everyone could trip him up just because of a few words directed at him. However, a new pinnacle expert had clearly appeared on the Radiance's side. However, not only did these people's expressions not change at all, there was even a hint of confidence and cunning in him. This made Du Miao a little curious. What kind of tricks did the others come up with in the last discussion? Lin Yuan and Xian Yu had already returned to the Radiant Moon Palace. Xue Shao, Bai Feng, and Lan Lian want to thank the Moon Empress for helping the Jade Gui previously, and for saving the mother of Bloodbath's life. They walked step by step from the foot of the Leaning Moon Mountain to the Radiant Moon Palace. They didn't choose to fly high in the sky. Chapter 1552. The location of the heaven's blessed abode was the world's most auspicious paradise. But when they arrived at the Leaning Moon Mountain, they looked at the surrounding phase and spiritual ingredients. They looked at the grass, spring water that flowed through the entire Leaning Moon Mountain. Blue Lotus, Bai Feng, and Xue Shuo realized the man-made landscape wasn't as harmonious as the natural landscape, but it wasn't inferior to the natural landscape. Sometimes, it even survived a calamity. This was because it used the unique means of a Class 5 Creation Master. Bai Feng now understood why Holy Sob insisted on staying by the Moon Empress side. By staying by the Moon Empress side, he could frequently receive the nourishment of pure spirit qi. In addition, the Moon Empress' other phase were also related to the moon. These must be the fundamental reasons why Holy Sob was able to cross that hurdle despite his mediocre aptitude. The Moon Empress was seething with anger. Night Leaning Moon was talking to the Moon Empress about the recent whale ocean trade. The Moon Empress didn't expect that Lin Yuan would personally face danger while she was in seclusion. Fortunately, everything went smoothly. Lin Yuan used his own method to control Di Wanmi's body and obtained a Class 5 Creation Master. Night Leaning Moon looked at the Moon Empress' angry face and said, "When I first met Lin Yuan, I felt that he was overly strong. From Lu Jie, I knew that Lin Yuan was a person who liked to do everything by himself. I always thought that such a person was good, but it was easy for unnecessary accidents to occur in important matters. But after the previous contact, I realized that I underestimated Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan's focus is on his own requirements. When facing a major matter, Lin Yuan was not sure if he could handle it, so he immediately contacted Night Leaning Moon. When I reported this matter to the Imperial Court, I didn't mention that Lin Yuan controlled Di Wanmi. You're Lin Yuan's master, and now you're out of seclusion. How to resolve it depends on you." When the Moon Empress heard Night Leaning Moon praising Lin Yuan, she revealed a proud smile. But when she heard that Night Leaning Moon didn't report to the Imperial Court about Lin Yuan controlling Di Wanmi, The Moon Empress looked at Night, Leaning Moon deeply, and said, "Qingyue, I owe you a favor. As for little Yuan, I plan to let him develop freely according to his original wishes. As his master, all I have to do is to protect him. Why must I interfere? Therefore, how should this matter be finally decided? I plan to let little Yuan decide for himself." Although she said that, the Moon Empress had already guessed his choice. At this stage, what he should really do was to increase his strength. As such, the Moon Empress did not advocate for Lin Yuan to show off too much. Otherwise, when Lin Yuan had used the Radiant Moon Palace as a pretense to obtain the Golden Lotus brocade, the Radiant Moon Palace would not have been able to do so. The Moon Empress would not help Lin Yuan agree to it. The Moon Empress knew how capable her disciple was. Even if he broke through as a creation master, the pure spirit chi that Lin Yuan had given him would not be able to help him. But he still couldn't concoct it. Therefore, the Moon Empress' expectations for Lin Yuan were no longer limited to the Radiance Envoy. At that moment, the Moon Empress sensed Lin Yuan's aura coming from outside the palace. The Moon Empress interrupted Night, Leaning Moon's words, and spoke softly. "My disciple has arrived. Wait for me here. I'll bring my disciple in first." The Moon Empress' words stunned Night, Leaning Moon. Night, Leaning Moon had never thought that the Moon Empress would take the initiative to welcome someone at the door. However, Night, Leaning Moon didn't know that this was not the first time the Moon Empress had done so. Lin Yuan, who had just arrived at the Radiant Moon Palace's entrance, was talking to Mystic Moon. "Uncle Mystic, the 3 heaven-blessed Dojo's Hall Lords will be visiting Master in a while. I plan to take the Mother of Bloodbath out for a trip. I'll come back later." Mystic Moon didn't dare to reply. If he said yes, His Highness would leave. What if the Moon Empress looked for His Highness after the discussion? If His Highness wasn't around, wouldn't he be the scapegoat? However, Mystic Moon knew that Lin Yuan would go out with the Mother of Bloodbath at this juncture. There must be something important. Just as Mystic Moon was thinking about how to answer, he felt the Moon Empress aura. Mystic Moon heaved a sigh of relief and thought to himself, "His Highness, you should talk to the Moon Empress yourself." The Moon Empress had obviously heard Lin Yuan's words. When she got close, she whispered to Lin Yuan, "Go. No matter what time you come back tonight, Master will be waiting for you to have dinner together." For some reason, it hadn't been a long time since they last met. The Moon Empress, who had just come out of seclusion, wanted to see Lin Yuan the most. The Moon Empress wasn't good at expressing her feelings. Now that she saw him, she didn't have much to say. However, as long as she saw Lin Yuan, she would feel a sense of peace for no reason. When he arrived at the inner palace, Lin Yuan immediately saw Night, Leaning Moon, who was drinking tea at the tea table. Lin Yuan gave Night, Leaning Moon a junior salute. Then, he took out the feather fan that Bai Feng had given him and handed it to his master, the Moon Empress. Lin Yuan was a junior, so he directly gave it to Night, Leaning Moon. Night, Leaning Moon might really bow to thank him. However, Lin Yuan couldn't accept Night, Leaning Moon's salute openly. Therefore, it was most suitable to give this feather fan to the Moon Empress. When the time came, it would be up to her to decide whether to give it to Night, Leaning Moon. The moment Lin Yuan took out the feather fan, Night, Leaning Moon felt the dense power of night on it. Night, Leaning Moon's heart began to beat violently. As he stared at the black feather fan in the Moon Empress' hand, the corners of his mouth twitched. Night, Leaning Moon immediately recognized that this was the feather of the heaven-blessed abode's hall mistress, Bai Feng. It was also because he didn't succeed when he asked for it previously. He also had to take into consideration the Radiance Federation's Night Empress identity and could not snatch it. The Moon Empress was also stunned when Lin Yuan took out the black feather fan. Then, a bright smile appeared on her face. Then, he walked towards Night, Leaning Moon, and said, "Qingyue, you saw it too? Little Yuan gave this to me. Take it. There's still some time before the Radiance 100 sequence selection. Let me give you some pure spirit chi. You must be in the 100 sequence. I will definitely be able to complete the breakthrough." Upon hearing that, Night, Leaning Moon took the black feather fan from the Moon Empress. She walked to Lin Yuan's side and gently said, "Thank you." Then, he disappeared from the Radiant Moon Palace. Then, a wisp of darkness entered the land of spiritual suppression. Night Leaning Moon immediately went into seclusion in the land of spirit suppression. When Lin Yuan heard Night Leaning Moon thank him, he reached out and scratched the back of his head. Fortunately, Night Leaning Moon left quickly. Otherwise, Lin Yuan couldn't possibly reply, "You're welcome." The Moon Empress understood Night Leaning Moon the best. Therefore, she knew how heavy the meaning behind Night Leaning Moon's soft thank you was. At that moment, Blue Lotus, Baifeng, and Xue Shuo brought the Mother of Bloodbath. They were already standing respectfully at the entrance of the Radiant Moon Palace. They were smelling the fragrance of the silver stamen gold luster cassia. Chapter 1553. Lan Lian, Baifeng, and Xue Shuo exchanged glances. They all discovered the extraordinariness of the silver auspicious gold luster cassia. They were clearly just two fantasy breed plant phase. However, there were clear signs of consciousness manifesting, especially when he saw Lan Lian. The two silver auspicious gold luster cassias swayed their silver stamen golden flowers, sending more fragrance to the Blue Lotus and Mother of Bloodbath's nostrils. It was obvious that the two silver auspicious gold luster cassias treated the Blue Lotus and the Mother of Bloodbath more warmly. However, the two silver auspicious gold luster cassias treated Baifeng and Xue Shuo just as well. Otherwise, it would be a plant fae that was about to become a myth breed. The two silver auspicious gold luster cassias could store the fragrance within their flower buds. He couldn't let Xue Shuo and Lan Lian smell it. Baifeng raised her brows when she noticed this and asked Lan Lian in astonishment, Blue Lotus, these two osmanthus trees are interesting. It manifested its consciousness when it was a fantasy breed." Lan Lian saw the two silver auspicious gold luster cassias. His gaze was fixed on the two silver auspicious gold luster cassias. He used his hand to lightly touch the trunk of one of the silver auspicious gold luster cassia. Feeling the closeness of the Inrue Jin Zigui to him, he conducted the spiritual energy to the place he touched. It seemed to be greeting him. This discovery made Blue Lotus think to herself. It seemed like he had underestimated the intelligence of the silver stamen gold luster cassia. The silver auspicious gold luster cassia would treat him and Xueqing well, giving them more of the fragrance of the flower. He only gave a small portion to Xue Shuo and Baifeng. To a large extent, it was because the silver auspicious gold luster cassia had discovered the true nature of the four of them. Plants need light and heat to grow. The celestial jade spider inside the jade gui had already been separated. Xue Shuo controlled the heat, the part of light that is controlled by blood emotion. The white phoenix was the dark night. The dark night would take away the light. Heat will take away moisture. That was why Inrue and Jin Zigui treated him differently. Lan Lian asked softly after hearing Baifeng's words. Baifeng, what level were you at when you awakened your favored spirit bloodline? Baifeng was stunned for a moment before replying. Ever since I was born, I've always been the chosen one. Don't you know that? Why are you asking about it? Lan Lian rolled her eyes at Baifeng when she heard this. So, you're a heaven's favored spirit, but you don't even have the common sense of a heaven's favored spirit? When I had my memories, I wasn't a chosen spirit yet. I only awakened the blessed spirit bloodline when I became a myth breed. Then Sister Yu Gui and Sister Ziqing found him and brought him back to the blessed heaven mansion. These two osmanthus trees are very similar to what happened to me back then. I'm only a fantasy breed, but I can already faintly activate the power of the four seas. But these two osmanthus trees have yet to display the ability to trigger a celestial phenomenon. But that's hard to say. Some of the favored spirits are advancing to the bell of Genesis. He just awakened the favored spirit bloodline. Young Deer and Yin are both in the same situation. Baifeng pursed her lips when she heard Lan Lian's words. Lan Lian, why do you keep mentioning the fact that you're the Xiantian Heaven's favored spirit? Among all the Heaven's blessed dojo's Heaven's blessed spirits, there were a total of 9 Heaven's blessed spirits. He was the weakest among them. Every time Lan Lian mentioned it, Baifeng felt that Lan Lian wasn't praising her talent. Instead, he was belittling himself. This was because if they were to really fight, Baifeng would definitely be able to defeat Lan Lian, who could mobilize the power of the four seas. Blue Lotus abilities lay in support, defense, and healing. However, Baifeng's abilities lay in large-scale attacks. He lacked single-target attacks, and the only single-target attacks he had weren't top-notch. It just so happened to be countered by Blue Lotus. At the same time, Baifeng was also very shocked by Lan Lian's words. He did not expect Blue Lotus to think so highly of these two silver, auspicious gold luster kasha. His words even indicated that these two silver, auspicious gold luster kashas could possibly become spirit favored by the heavens. If these two silver stamen gold luster kashas really transformed into spirits of heaven's favor, then the Moon Empress had the holy weeping moon beast. Doesn't that mean I have 3 heavenly chosen spirits? These two silver, auspicious gold luster kashas had always been planted in front of the Moon Empress Radiant Moon Palace. Although he was not contracted by the Moon Empress, he had been nurtured by her. It could be considered the Moon Empress Fey item. It wasn't just the Moon Empress. After the two silver, auspicious gold luster kashas became favored spirits, the Moon Empress felt a chill run down her spine. He would not give the silver, auspicious gold luster kasha to the Heaven's Favor Mansion. Furthermore, the Heaven's Favor Mansion did not have the face to ask the Moon Empress for it. At that moment, the Moon Empress arrived at the main hall and sat on the main seat. Mystic Moon went to the door and was about to invite Lan Lian, Baifeng, and Xuesha in. Lin Yuan followed beside Mystic Moon and saw the Mother of Bloodbath following behind Xuesha. He gave the Mother of Bloodbath a look. The Mother of Bloodbath hurriedly understood and said to Xuesha, "Daddy, I'm going to do something with Lin Yuan first. I'll wait for you at the lava land at night." As it spoke, the Mother of Bloodbath clenched its fist. It resisted the throbbing in its heart. Whether it could resurrect its mother or not, it would depend on the Remembrance Soul Whale's performance at the lava land. Ever since Xuesha met the Mother of Bloodbath, he had been very careful. Ever since Xuesha met the Mother of Bloodbath, he had been very careful. He didn't know how to express his fatherly love. On the other hand, he was afraid that if he showed too much, the Mother of Bloodbath would not be able to accept it. On the other hand, he was afraid that if he showed too much, the Mother of Bloodbath would not be able to accept it. It would be very annoying. No matter how long Xuesha had lived, he was just a new father. He had to experience the feelings and responsibilities of being a father. The Mother of Bloodbath had never been by Xuesha's side since it was born. Therefore, even if Xuesha did not show it on the surface, he was actually far more flustered than a newbie nanny. Xuesha had never seen the Mother of Bloodbath and only knew that he had a child. He wanted to bring the Mother of Bloodbath to the lava land to have a look. That was the place where Yu Gui was buried. If possible, Xuesha would rather not go anywhere. He would find a cave in the lava land to live in and often accompany Yu Gui. Of course, this was what Xuesha had thought before he found the Mother of Bloodbath. Now that he had found his daughter, Xuesha's original thoughts had changed. Xuesha planned to live with the Mother of Bloodbath. At the same time, he would protect his daughter's savior. However, with the contact just now, Xuesha was keenly aware that the Mother of Bloodbath treated Lin Yuan differently. This meant that the Mother of Bloodbath definitely had feelings for Lin Yuan that it did not have for anyone else. This was not the feeling an ordinary path protector had for the person it protected. It was not just gratitude either. The Mother of Bloodbath did not say it clearly. However, Xuesha was keenly aware of the Mother of Bloodbath's feelings when it looked at Lin Yuan. It was very similar to the way he had looked at Yu Gui back then. Spider species Fays were the hardest to fall in love with, but after falling in love, they would fall in love the most. This was already the case for Spider Fays, let alone a spider's favored spirit. Xuesha could confirm that his daughter had already fallen in love with Lin Yuan. Into this chapter, Chapter 1554. Even his own daughter had expressed her feelings to him, but this feeling was already very deep. As a father, he had the right to question his daughter's feelings. However, Shua had just found the mother of Bloodbath and reunited with his daughter. He didn't think he had the right to ask. Looking at his appearance, it was obvious that he did not know the mother of Bloodbath's feelings. Shua, who was the father of a newbie, was in a dilemma. For a moment, he did not know what to do. In this aspect, there was no one in the entire blessed dojo who could be Shua's teacher. Shua didn't even have anyone to ask. Although Bai Feng was experienced, she was able to speak logically when it came to matters of the heart. However, Shua was not willing to get parenting experience from experienced bachelor. Helpless, Shua could only smile sourly in his heart. I said to the mother of Bloodbath, "Little Qing, after visiting you, I'll wait for you at the lava field." The mother of Bloodbath was shocked. He and Lin Yuan were going to the lava field now. He wanted to see if he could use the soul thought whale to collect his mother's soul. However, when he thought about how his father, Shua, would probably be staying in the Radiant Moon Palace for quite a long time, he felt a chill run down his spine. It was enough for him and Lin Yuan to investigate the situation. At that time, he would be able to be confident and not have to worry. If the spirit thought whale was able to find his mother's soul in the lava, at that time, he could tell his father the good news. If the soul remembrance whale couldn't do it, then the mother of Blood Moon might as well not mention anything. That way, his father wouldn't be hurt again. Xianyu brought Shua, Lan Lian, and Bai Feng into the Radiant Moon Palace. Lin Yuan waved his hand and summoned the Slaughter Sky Butterfly. The royal capital was in the central region of the Radiance Empire, while the Lava Land was in the southernmost region. It was next to Bronze Furnace City and Burning Flame City, two large cities in the south. If he let Blackie hurry, it would take at least a few days to reach the lava field from the royal capital. However, if he used the heaven-slaughtering butterfly, he would be able to arrive in slightly more than an hour. Riding on the back of the sky killer butterfly, they headed south. Seeing the mother of Bloodbath's anxious and hopeful expression, Lin Yuan thought for a long time. But he really did not know how to comfort her. He could only pat the mother of Bloodbath's shoulder. If it were his parents, they would also have such an opportunity. Lin Yuan would probably be even more agitated and anxious than the mother of Bloodbath. It was the same feeling as when a family member entered the operating theater and waited for the result. Unfortunately, his parents had already perished in the insect tide. Even if Lin Yuan used Morbius to spirit lock on the soul thought whale, it was still impossible to revive his parents. At that moment, Shua saw the Moon Empress sitting on the main seat. He bowed and said very sincerely, "The Moon Empress had previously helped my beloved wife, and now she is helping my daughter. Moon Empress, please accept my bow." The Heaven-Blessed Dojo and the Radiance Federation were both one of the largest factions in the world. The Dojo Lord of the Blessed Heavens Dojo and Radiance's holiness should be on equal footing. If it was said that Shua was only bowing to the Moon Empress to express his gratitude, it was the principle of gratitude. But now, he was calling the Moon Empress. This meant that Shua did not regard himself as the master of the Heaven-Blessed Dojo. Instead, he became Lin Yuan's guardian. Mystic Moon had already informed the Moon Empress about Shua becoming Lin Yuan's guardian. Shua's actions made the Moon Empress' eyes flicker. In the end, the Moon Empress said honestly, "When I saved Yigui back then, I was indeed helping. However, this Empress had selfish motives in helping your daughter." The Moon Empress' words were very frank and did not hide anything. However, the Moon Empress' words immediately gained the favor of Blue Lotus, White Phoenix, and Shua. The Heaven-Blessed Spirit's true temperament was not fake. However, true temperament and acting on impulse were two completely different concepts from foolishness. How could there be such a coincidence in the world? The Moon Empress had coincidentally saved Shua and Yu Gui's daughter. She had even made Shua and Yu Gui's daughter her disciple's path protector. Regarding all of this, White Phoenix, Shua, and Blue Lotus already had a plan. They just did not say it out loud. However, even if they had a plan, their gratitude toward Lin Yuan and the Moon Empress did not diminish. Otherwise, Shueisha would not have sworn an oath with the celestial phenomenon to become Lin Yuan's path protector. He would not have bowed to thank the Moon Empress and addressed her as Lord. However, the Moon Empress had said out loud. The last trace of hesitation in the trio's hearts had dissipated. Now, apart from gratitude, they could not help but truly admire the Moon Empress. This was because only a person who truly had a big picture could say such magnanimous words. There was no one who did not like to make friends with magnanimous people. Facing the Moon Empress' frankness, White Phoenix immediately said, "Moon Empress, on the way to Radiance, we destroyed many of the Pagoda Cannon strongholds. I believe the Moon Empress is very clear about the grudge between our Heaven-blessed dojo and the Pagoda Cannon." The Moon Empress was non-committal. The Pagoda Cannon's 5 pages of truth had taken advantage of Yu Gui's weakened state to kill her. The Heaven-blessed dojo and the Pagoda Cannon had already formed a death grudge. The Heaven-blessed dojo's dojo lord, Zi Qing, had single-handedly fought his way into the Pagoda Cannon's headquarters. He had killed a page of destiny. However, Zi Qing had also suffered severe injuries. When the Moon Empress first heard this news, she did not think of the grudge between the Heaven-blessed dojo and the Pagoda Cannon. Instead, she was certain of one thing. There was definitely a huge problem with the 8 pages of the Pagoda Cannon. However, the Moon Empress had yet to figure out the secret of the 8 pages. Even 8-Page himself didn't know what was going on. While Bai Feng was speaking, she had been observing the Moon Empress expression. Seeing that there was no change in the Moon Empress expression, Bai Feng muttered to herself for a moment. She continued, "Moon Empress, we have received information from these strongholds. 2 of the 8 pages of the Pagoda Cannon will come to Radiance, but we don't know which 2 pages they are." Bai Feng was saying all this to express goodwill to the Moon Empress. Every time the 8 pages of the Pagoda Cannon took action, there must be a clear goal. Unexpectedly, after hearing this news, the Moon Empress' expression was still calm. She only said one sentence. "If the people from the Pagoda Cannon really come to Radiance, no matter which 2 pages come, since they are here, don't leave." The Moon Empress' words shocked Bai Feng, Lan Lian, and Shueisha. How much courage did the Moon Empress have to be able to say such words? It seemed that Holy Sob was not the only one whose strength had reached above the eternal realm. The Moon Empress' strength must have also broken through. Only powerful strength could support such confidence. Presumably, in another 7 or 8 days, it would be time for the Radiance 100 sequence to truly begin. Radiance's royal capital was about to become lively. The Slaughter Sky Butterfly had already flown to the land of lava. Lin Yuan found that the concentration of fire elements in this land of lava was not much weaker than the Class 3 Abyss Dimensional Rift. It was even comparable to the Class 3 Abyss Dimensional Rift. The concentration of fire elements here was purer. At that moment, the Mother of Bloodbath suddenly knelt on the Slaughter Sky Butterfly's back. Its body trembled violently. Chapter 1555. The Mother of Bloodbath felt the bloodline in its body throb for no reason. The fire element in the lava field was so dense that it filled the air. These fire elements made the Mother of Bloodbath feel very warm. It was completely different from what he knew of the fire element. These fire elements clustered around the Mother of Bloodbath. It gave the Mother of Bloodbath the same feeling it had when it first met Shueisha. It was like a gentle embrace. The Mother of Bloodbath knew that these fire elements were due to its bloodline. It was responding instinctively. The Mother of Bloodbath was not a sentimental person. The only times she shed tears were because of Lin Yuan. When a Mother of Bloodbath saw its father, Shueisha, it held back. Don't let the tears come out. But now, he could feel the sensation brought by the fire element. The Mother of Bloodbath cried uncontrollably. When Lin Yuan saw the Mother of Bloodbath, his body trembled as he knelt on the Slaughter Sky Butterfly's back. Big drops of tears poured down from the Mother of Bloodbath's eyes. Lin Yuan was not in a hurry to let the Slaughter Sky Butterfly land. Instead, he squatted down. He used his fingertips to wipe away the tears on the Mother of Bloodbath's face. He had roughly guessed that the Mother of Bloodbath had been affected by the lava's fire element. Back then, the celestial jade spider's body had turned into a land of lava. The fire elements did not disperse and continued to gather in the lava field. This meant that there had to be something special about the fire elements that the corona jade spiders had transformed into. It was because of the uniqueness of the lava. He felt that using the soul thought whale to collect the sky corona jade spider's soul had a high chance of success. Now, the fire elements in the lava land were gathering in the Mother of Bloodbath's direction. The Mother of Bloodbath must have gotten it from these fire elementals. Through the bloodline, the longing in the bloodline's memories was evoked. The Mother of Bloodbath looked up. The Mother of Bloodbath saw Lin Yuan's concerned expression. At that moment, the Mother of Bloodbath could no longer hold it in. She reached out and hugged Lin Yuan. He simply patted the Mother of Bloodbath's back and comforted it. He allowed the Mother of Bloodbath's tears to flow onto his shoulder. Seeing this, the sky killer butterfly thought to itself. The Mother of Bloodbath had always been hiding its feelings for Lin Yuan. But now, when he sensed his mother's presence, his defense was broken. He made such an intimate gesture. However, looking at Lin Yuan's expression, Lin Yuan's eyes were filled with hope. He did not seem to understand the Mother of Bloodbath's feelings. He was simply comforting the Mother of Bloodbath. As for the fact that her father-in-law was a straight man, she didn't know what to say. The killer sky butterfly expressed that it did not matter. Anyway, it was fine as long as it wasn't his purple cloud. Although the Nirvana butterfly was with Zi Xiao day and night, it was still with her. But that Nirvana butterfly was also a male butterfly. That was why the slaughterer butterfly was so relaxed. Otherwise, the one frowning right now would probably be the slaughtering sky butterfly, because unrequited love was better than her boyfriend cheating on her. After a long while, the Mother of Bloodbath let go of Lin Yuan's embrace and said softly, "Lin Yuan, let's go down and take a look." As it spoke, the Mother of Bloodbath's face turned suspiciously red. After the killer butterfly landed on the ground, he stored the butchering sky butterfly into the spirit lock spatial zone. With a wave of his hand, he summoned the soul whale. The psychic whale's current strength was at Bronze X/Legend. Before Lin Yuan comprehended the willpower rune related to the soul, the current grade was already the soul thought whale's limit. Lin Yuan immediately issued a command to the soul thought whale. Soul thought whale, use soul knot. Search for the aura of the souls here. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's command, the soul thought whale let out a clear cry. It immediately began to collect the souls here. As a result, after the search, the soul thought whale collected the souls of various fays, such as the sharp-eared firefox, fireplains wolf, rattlesnake flame python, and so on. Apart from that, the souls of these fays, there are also some adventurers' souls mixed in. Obviously, some adventurers had died here. There were a large number of insect species phase souls, and even plant species phase souls. There were countless of them. The lava land was a complete ecological environment. At every moment, there were phase fighting and preying on each other. This was the law of evolution of nature. Although the souls of those weaker life forms would quickly dissipate after they died, too many life forms had died. But within these few days, too many life forms had died. When the soul thought whale used soul knot, it needed soul fragments to filter them one by one. The sky cobra jade spider had been buried in the lava land for too long. Even if there was soul energy, it would be very weak. Lin Yuan wanted to use this method to search for the sky cobra jade spider's soul. The possibility was close to zero. Even if Lin Yuan stayed here 24 hours a day with the soul thought whale to filter the souls, if he was unlucky, he might not be able to find the sky cobra jade spider's soul even after a few decades. No matter how strong Lin Yuan was, he could not stop the phase from growing old and dying. Lin Yuan said to the Mother of Bloodbath, who had a hopeful look in its eyes, "We are at the edge of Bronze Furnace City. The deeper we go into the lava land, the denser the fire element. The possibility of collecting the souls is also higher. We will head all the way to the lava land's central area. Let the soul thought whale screen the soul energy along the way. The mother of Bloodbath nodded in response. After pondering for a moment, it said, Lin Yuan, when we get to the lava land, we'll screen until dinner tonight. If we can't find anything, wait until the Radiance 100 sequence ends. Come and accompany me for another day of screening. If we still can't find anything in one day, perhaps Mother's soul will really disappear. The mother of Bloodbath knew that Lin Yuan's time was very precious. It was already certain that Lin Yuan could become a Radiance envoy. 2 years later, the Radiance and the Freedom Federation would have a shocking gamble. These 2 years were the 2 years that Lin Yuan needed to urgently increase his strength. Therefore, the mother of Bloodbath did not want to waste too much of Lin Yuan's time because of itself. Moreover, the mother of Bloodbath was very clear. When they reached the central area, the place with the densest fire element, if they still could not find its mother's soul there, it would almost mean that its mother's soul had already disappeared. They had only walked for a few kilometers. The density of the fire element had increased so much. At the central area, only extremely powerful life forms could survive. Therefore, there would definitely not be many souls in the central area. It should not be too difficult to search for them. As they walked, Lin Yuan realized that the soul-thought whale was gradually extracting more and more spirit chi professional souls. Spirit chi professional souls were the easiest to dissipate. Being able to extract souls meant that these spirit chi professionals had only been dead for a few days. This made Lin Yuan feel that something was wrong. Chapter 1556. Why were there so many spirit chi professionals dying in the lava field? Soon, as the soul remembrance whale searched the souls, Lin Yuan felt that he should know the reason. The soul remembrance whale found an abyss demon soul. Moreover, there was a large number of abyss demon souls in this area. Lin Yuan could not find the souls of other life forms. There should be an adventurer team that had just left Bronze Furnace City for an adventure. Or on the way back, they encountered an abyss dimensional rift. A large number of spirit chi professionals died at the hands of the demons. Soon, Lin Yuan and the mother of Bloodbath walked to the inner circle of the lava. Here, Lin Yuan found that most of the fire-type Fays had mutated. Their bloodlines had been purified. Among them, the fire-type Spider Fays had the most obvious change. Lin Yuan even saw a Diamond X/Fantasy V fire-type Spider Fay. This was the first time Lin Yuan saw a willpower rune successfully comprehended in the wild. It was a fantasy breed Fay that was about to break through to myth breed. Such a Fay was already a 1 in a million talent in the Fay world. He used Morbius True data to check on this fire attribute Arachne Fay. At a glance, Lin Yuan realized that this fire-type Arachne Fay was called the Ghost Fire Thorn Spider. The Ghost Fire Thorn Spider was a Fay that focused on elemental and physical attacks. It was good at assassination. Even though the Ghost Fire Thorn Spider was a Diamond/Fantasy breed, it was still the size of a bottle cap. When it concealed itself, it was definitely a natural killer. From the moment this Ghost Fire Thorn Spider saw the mother of Bloodbath, it showed an unusual closeness to the mother of Bloodbath. It was a Diamond/Fantasy breed Arachne Fay that had developed intelligence. However, its intelligence was obviously not high. The reason it was so close to the mother of Bloodbath was because it had been absorbing the fire-type energy here. It had the same origin as the mother of Bloodbath. From a moment, the mother of Bloodbath became a favored spirit. It had been carefully nurturing the blood brew grapevine. Even the 6-star sacred source life form, the scarlet tentacle algae's body. There were some parts that could not be forged into artifacts. The mother of Bloodbath fed them to the blood brew grapevine. The mother of Bloodbath used the blood law rune to guide it day and night. The blood brew grapevine had comprehended a willpower rune that was related to blood. He could be considered the mother of Bloodbath's #1 disciple. The mother of Bloodbath looked at the will-o-wisp spider for a long time. He held the will-o-wisp spider in his palm and said, "Your life level has evolved here. I'll also give you an opportunity. If you're willing, you'll follow me from today onwards. Let me guide you as you grow." The Ghost Fire Thorn Spider heard the mother of Bloodbath's words. He quickly hid in the mother of Bloodbath's hair. The mother of Bloodbath did not say anything about accepting disciples. But this Diamond X/Fantasy V Willow Wisp Thorn Spider was only a Diamond X/Fantasy V Will-O-Wisp. He had obviously become the mother of Bloodbath's second disciple. The fact that this Will-O-Wisp spider could follow the mother of Bloodbath could definitely be considered a great opportunity. From then on, the spider's life underwent a transformation. Just as he was about to step into the central area, Lin Yuan realized that the number of souls that the Soul Remembrance Whale had found had not changed. However, among the souls that he had found, there were no living beings that were too weak. At that moment, Lin Yuan saw a spirit chi professional with multiple injuries on his body. He was holding a 3-meter-tall ape species Fey and walking over from afar. That expert immediately shouted when he saw Lin Yuan and the mother of Bloodbath. There's an abnormal gathering of beasts ahead. It seems like some fire-type treasure is about to appear. Hurry up and run. Those Fays dug out treasures and were seen by those Fays that did not get a share. They might be used to vent their anger. The middle-aged man walking over from afar was a king-class expert. The ape species Fey beside him was a Diamond 4/Fantasy 2 Fey. It was called the Flame Pattern Battle Ape. The Land of Lava had always been a place for spirit chi professionals who had contracted fire-type Fays. It was a treasure land for treasures and strength enhancement. Most fire-type Fays had very bad tempers. It was very normal for them to attack when they saw someone. The Land of Lava wasn't too big, and fire-type Fays grew stronger very quickly in this place. Therefore, every powerful fire attribute Fey was extremely powerful. None of them were able to find land that corresponded to their strength. As such, Fays value territories very much. Any living being that stepped into the territory would be treated as an intruder and would be attacked. This king-class expert kindly warned himself and the mother of Bloodbath. He was obviously a kind-hearted person. With a wave of his hand, a green ray of light connected to the middle-aged man and the flame-patterned battle ape. The middle-aged man and the flame-striped war ape's injuries were immediately healed. The middle-aged man was immediately aware of Lin Yuan's move. The other party wasn't like him. He truly had strength. They were qualified to enter the center of the lava field. From then on, the middle-aged man no longer warned him. Instead, he recalled what he had just seen and said, "There's at least one myth-breed Fey in human form inside. The treasure it's guarding seems to be a fiery red rock. That stone looks like a spider's leg from a distance. I'm not sure if I'm mistaken." When Lin Yuan heard the middle-aged man's words, his eyes lit up. I said to the mother of Bloodbath, "Come, let's go to the central area to take a look." Before the lava field was formed, it was a forest. It's impossible to have a fire-type treasure. Thus, all fire attribute treasures must be related to the body of the fallen celestial corona jade spider. If that red rock really is a body, then the soul of the magnolia jade spider must be within it. It doesn't matter how many souls there are, as long as I can absorb a bit. The Remembrance Soul Whale can use its exclusive skill, Soul Igniting Rebirth, to consume spiritual ingredients filled with soul force and guide the pure energy within them into the soul. Use soul energy to mend the broken soul as much as possible so that the broken soul is complete. The mother of Bloodbath was so excited that it did not know what to do. The mother of Bloodbath, which had been a little discouraged, now had infinite hope in its heart. The mother of Bloodbath and Lin Yuan immediately rushed toward the central area. At that moment, the mother of Bloodbath revealed its loftiness as a heavenly spirit. The moment the mother of Bloodbath activated the sky corona, jade spider's bloodline. A corona appeared above the mother of Bloodbath's head. The flames extended the mother of Bloodbath's skirt infinitely. The sunlight gathered toward the mother of Bloodbath. The mother of Bloodbath was like a sun goddess. At that moment, the mother of Bloodbath had the intention to kill. If those fire attribute Fays entrenched in the core area, if they had to fight for those rocks that might be formed from its mother's spider legs. The mother of Bloodbath would not be polite. The moment the mother of Bloodbath activated the sky corona jade spider's bloodline, all the fire elements in the lava field began to seethe. Then, the fire elemental energy began to condense continuously. The rich fire elemental energy slowly condensed into a woman's phantom. This woman's phantom looked a little blurry, but no matter how one looked at it, it was 70% to 80% similar to the mother of Bloodbath. She also wore a sun crown on her head. After the fire elemental energy condensed into the woman's phantom, wind finally blew into the lava field where the fire elemental energy was entrenched. The wind blew the clouds, and the rain of yearning finally fell after so many years. At that moment, the cool breeze turned into rain, and yearning filled the ground. Chapter 1557. A cool breeze accompanied the drizzle. It landed on Lin Yuan and the mother of Bloodbath. It also landed on the woman's phantom formed by the fire elements of the lava field. Although this woman's phantom looked 70% to 80% similar to the mother of Bloodbath, but it was still formed by the fire elements. When the drizzle landed on this phantom, it turned into mist. The mist was quickly evaporated by the fire elements. The high temperature caused the space around the woman to slightly distort. The woman's phantom stood motionless in front of the mother of Bloodbath. Lin Yuan thought of a legend. The Moon Empress had once told him this legend. It was said that when a fae was strong to a certain extent, even if it died, the energy in its body would still persist. It was its last wish. At this moment, the woman's phantom stretched out her hand and gently hugged the mother of Bloodbath. It was probably the last thought of the celestial jade spider. It was the mother of Bloodbath's newborn daughter. The mother of Bloodbath, who was being hugged by the fire elemental phantom, deeply experienced the feeling of a mother. This feeling was not as deep as the feeling Xue Shao gave the mother of Bloodbath, but it was more exquisite. The formation of the woman's phantom squeezed out all the fire elements in the entire lava field. It was equivalent to directly changing the environment of the lava field. The eyes of all the creatures in the lava field gathered in the direction of the woman's phantom. The changes in the lava field immediately attracted the attention of Bronze Furnace City. The lava field used to be a forest. Because of the death of the celestial jade spider, it became a land filled with fire elements and frequently opened abyss-dimensional rifts. It could be said that the lava field changed the entire industrial layout of Bronze Furnace City. Every year, a large number of contractors who contracted fire-type faes came to settle in Bronze Furnace City. It could be said that the lava field had changed. It had a great impact on the entire Bronze Furnace City. Of course, the mother of Bloodbath did not know about this. There were already a large number of fire-type faes in the central area rushing over here. Any fae with some intelligence would know this. There must have been a change here. It was very likely that they would obtain an opportunity. Faes with higher intelligence could sense the mother of Bloodbath's identity as a favored spirit. On the other hand, those faes with lower intelligence no longer cared about the consequences. They rushed directly toward the mother of Bloodbath. He disturbed the mother of Bloodbath from feeling the warmth of a mother's love. Before the mother of Bloodbath could make a move, Lin Yuan had already launched an attack. There were no outsiders here, so he did not hold back at all. He directly displayed Xiao Hei's exclusive skill, Spiritual Essence Explosion. Pure spiritual energy gathered in his left fist. Black wings spread out behind Lin Yuan. The acceleration brought by the wings made his figure so fast that it was blurry. In addition, he had superb combat skills and movement techniques. In just a moment, Lin Yuan had returned to his original spot. As for those faes that rushed over, Lin Yuan ruthlessly punched each of them in the head. They all fell to the ground. Lin Yuan's method shocked many of the faes that were preparing to attack. It had also stimulated the ferocious nature of many faes. These faes immediately swarmed over. Just as Lin Yuan was about to make another move, the ghost fire thorn spider, which had just been accepted as a disciple by the mother of Bloodbath, scuttled out of its hair. The body of the will-o'-wisp spider was covered in a layer of demonic red and blue flames. The two colored flames encircled the spider's body. It formed a sinister and terrifying ghost face. The palm-sized will-o'-wisp spider was like a bullet. It penetrated all the fays that attacked. The fays that were penetrated by the will-o'-wisp spider quickly burned with red and blue flames. The red and blue flames directly burned these fays into shells. The burning of the fays' bodies caused the red and blue flames to burn even more vigorously. Finally, the red and blue flames were completely absorbed by the will-o'-wisp spider. The ghost face formed by the flames on the will-o'-wisp spider's body. It spat out a thick purple flame tongue. It directly crashed into a Diamond 6/Fantasy 4 Grand Fire Terror Lion. In Lin Yuan's opinion, this thick purple flame tongue had already reached the limit of a Diamond/Fantasy breed Fae. As long as it was a little stronger, it could reach the standard of a myth breed Fae. The Grand Fire Terror Lion was unable to resist such an attack. Soon, the Grand Fire Terror Lion was roasted into charcoal by the purple-red flame tongue. Then, a large amount of red and blue flames gushed out of the Grand Fire Terror Lion's body. They were absorbed into the will-o'-wisp spider's body. Seeing this scene, Lin Yuan could not help but admire the will-o'-wisp spider's talent. The will-o'-wisp spider's exclusive skill was Plunder Burning Flame. Plunder Burning Flame. When the target is stained with the Plunder Burning Flame, as long as the target's energy level is lower than the Plunder Burning Flame's energy level, it will be converted into the Plunder Burning Flame's energy. Under normal circumstances, the petite will-o'-wisp spider that existed as an assassin would have a lower energy level. The energy level in its body would be lower than most fays of the same grade. Fortunately, the land of lava's mutation had saved this will-o'-wisp spider's talent. But even after the mutation, the will-o'-wisp spider was still inferior to Lu Shuang's main fae, the exquisite dragon lizard. Even the walking wizard snake that Lu Shuang had carefully nurtured had reached Diamond X/Fantasy V. The will-o'-wisp spider might not be comparable. However, the will-o'-wisp spider was smart enough to launch a sneak attack. While it was sneak attacking those fays that were weaker than it, it also dealt a blow to those fays that Lin Yuan had defeated. Through the exclusive skill, Plunder Burning Flame, the will-o'-wisp spider constantly increased the intensity of its red and blue flames. Finally, it used the ability to stack the red and blue flames into poison fire. They fused together and gave birth to the fire-poison energy. With just one attack, it instantly killed the Grand Fire Terror Lion that was not much weaker than the will-o'-wisp spider. The will-o'-wisp spider used this combat method. It could be seen as a special combat type Fae. The longer it stayed on the battlefield, the more targets it killed. The more powerful it was, the stronger it would be. Of course, there was a limit to this enhancement. That was the limit that the will-o'-wisp spider's body could withstand. Apart from that, the will-o'-wisp spider had an exclusive skill, Fire Spirit Essence. Fire Spirit Essence. Consume the body's dual-colored flames to separate a special insect protein. Through the insect protein, the Fae can quickly recover its energy, stamina, and stimulate the soul to fight. This exclusive skill might be pitifully weak on its own. It was an exclusive skill that reduced the phase attack method and recovered stamina. However, when paired with another exclusive skill, Plunder Burning Flame, it had a miraculous effect. The will-o'-wisp spider's exclusive skill and ability combination. It was no wonder the Mother of Bloodbath had set its eyes on it. The will-o'-wisp spider could constantly hunt down fays that were weaker than it to strengthen itself. However, a myth breed Fae had already run out of the land of lava's inner circle. Chapter 1558. Even if this Fae had just evolved from a Fantasy V to a myth breed, after the world cleansing, its life level had increased. It was difficult to use talent to make up for it. Moreover, most of the fire-type Faes in the lava land had bloodlines that had been enhanced. Their talents were extremely powerful. Therefore, the will-o'-wisp spider and the myth lava terror claw bear fought. The red and blue flames made the lava terror claw bear howl. The golden red fur of the lava terror claw bear had a fever. However, it could not injure the lava terror claw bear at its core. At that moment, the lava terror claw bear opened its huge mouth and let out a roar. It wanted to mobilize the fire elements in the air, but the lava terror claw bear discovered that. The fire-type energy in the lava land had been squeezed dry by the woman with the crown on her head. The lava terror claw bear could only mobilize its own fire-type energy. It prepared to unleash a Bear King claw strike. The lava terror claw bear waved its claws agilely and tore through space. The power of space was mixed with the violent power of fire. If it hit the will-o-wisp spider, which had weak defense, it would be able to cut open its stomach. Just when a lava terror claw bear thought that it was about to kill the will-o-wisp spider, a majestic shout rang out. Then, the mother of Bloodbath's hand shook. A chain made of light directly bound the lava dreadclaw bear tightly. The lava terror claw bear instantly lost control of its body. The flow of blood in his body had already firmly controlled his body. Then, the lava terror claw bear was horrified to discover 3 huge hornless dragons with bright red horns and blood-like scales. They snaked out from the woman's dress that seemed to be made of light. Each of them was nearly 100 meters long. One of the hornless dragons was heading straight for the lava terror claw bear. The dragon horn pierced into the lava terror claw bear's chest. The lava terror claw bear instantly lost consciousness. But all of this was just the beginning. The mother of Bloodbath immediately used its funeral of light. Through light energy, it controlled the lava terror claw bear. Before the lava terror claw bear was burned dry by the light energy, it would become a puppet under the mother of Bloodbath's control. The mother of Bloodbath was not sure if the soul-thought whale could collect its current soul. This momentary enjoyment of motherly love was interrupted. The fire attribute phase that had arrived all stared at their mother's projection with green eyes. It was obvious that it wanted to absorb the fire element within the phantom. This made the mother of Bloodbath furious. You bastards who have always been blessed by your mother. It's fine if you don't know how to be grateful. Now, he even wanted to hit on his mother. Thinking of this, the mother of Bloodbath's emotions instantly exploded. Then, a long spear appeared in the mother of Bloodbath's hand. Right at this moment, a delicate voice sounded from afar. "Leave this to me." Then, a middle-aged woman in a red dress appeared in front of the mother of Bloodbath. First, it bowed gently to the mother of Bloodbath and the woman beside it. Then, the woman pulled out a red hairpin from her head. Then, he held the hairpin and said softly, "Soul return. Everything boils." Immediately after, the woman's face was covered with triangular scales. It was obvious that these scales were snake scales. A cry came from the woman's mouth. A colorless poisonous mist was spat out from the woman's mouth. The woman threw the hairpin into the poisonous mist. The hairpin quickly dissolved in the poisonous mist, dyeing it crimson. Then, the poisonous mist spread out. All phase below Myth 2 were contaminated with this poisonous mist. All of them were like wax figures, quickly dissolving. In the blink of an eye, their originally strong bodies flowed into meat soup. All the phase that coveted the woman's projection were cleared by the middle-aged woman. This was the second time Lin Yuan saw a Myth 3 Fei use body weaponization and soul return. After the middle-aged woman used the killer move, she restrained the aura on her body. She bowed to the mother of Bloodbath and said, "This servant greets the lady." The mother of Bloodbath looked at the middle-aged woman with an undiminished aura. Feeling the mother of Bloodbath's hostility, the middle-aged woman hurriedly explained. Sensing the mother of Bloodbath's hostility, the middle-aged woman hurriedly explained. "Miss, I'm a poison fire centipede with an extremely ordinary bloodline. When I just broke out of the eggshell, the lady happened to perish." While speaking, the middle-aged woman looked admiringly at the woman's projection beside the mother of Bloodbath before continuing. "I've been blessed by the lady since I was young. My talent has mutated, and my strength has increased rapidly. My strength has already reached the peak of Myth 3. My lord, I can no longer repay you. If Miss doesn't mind, I'm willing to follow Mississippi. Firstly, I can report this matter to you. Secondly, I can be a servant and help Miss a little." The middle-aged woman looked at him in disgust. The phase that had turned into meat soup and fused with the soil said, "Don't worry. Miss, there are 2 types of spiritual objects here. The first type are the natives of the lava lands who have been blessed since birth. One is a fire-type fae that migrated to the land of lava because of its environment. These fays only treat the land of lava as a treasure land and want to constantly plunder the land of lava's resources. The reason why I'm here now is because the others are guarding Baoyan. That treasure rock has always been regarded by us as Lord's incarnation. Not long ago, a few foreign fays found helpers and wanted to snatch the treasure rock. Now, those outsiders have been stopped while we're all injured. We killed the few fays that were leading the pack. They shouldn't be coming for a while. Miss, are you going to take a look at the treasure rock? From a moment we sensed your aura, we decided to follow you from now on. Upon hearing the middle-aged woman's words, the mother of Bloodbath's heart trembled slightly. To the mother of Bloodbath itself. In essence, it did not like those fays that had transformed because of a nourishment of its mother's flesh and blood. This was because the growth of these fays was equivalent to gnawing on its mother's flesh and blood. However, the middle-aged woman's words did not make the mother of Bloodbath angry. Instead, it was very touched. Lin Yuan looked at the middle-aged woman's sincere expression. He thought of those fays that were guarding the treasure rock in the core area. Lin Yuan had a deeper understanding of what it meant for fays to value favors. That treasure rock was most likely formed from the Sky Corona Jade Spider's spider leg. It was a great supplement for any fire-type fay. These fays had guarded this treasure rock for generations out of gratitude. Now, they were more willing to use the rest of their lives to serve the mother of Bloodbath. At that moment, Lin Yuan heard the mother of Bloodbath speak. I want to watch Lin Yuan grow from now on. It was my mother who turned into the land of lava, and I still have my father. When the time comes, I'll talk to my father and let you all become non-staff members of the Heaven's Blessed Mansion. Chapter 1559. When speaking, the mother of Bloodbath was very honest. At the same time, the expression on his face was exceptionally grateful. Regardless of whether the treasure rock that had been guarded for so many years truly contained his mother's soul. However, these fays had transformed because of their mother's flesh and blood. He was indeed using his own way to protect and appreciate his mother. The middle-aged woman was shocked when she heard the mother of Bloodbath's words. Then, he opened his mouth wide in shock. The middle-aged woman's thoughts were simple. The reason he chose to do this was because he wanted to repay the debt of gratitude. He didn't have any other thoughts. However, he did not expect the mother of Bloodbath to arrange for them to stay in the heaven-blessed abode. He became a non-staff member of the heaven-blessed mansion. Although fays would develop greed when facing the favored spirit that was weaker than them, the favored spirit would not be able to resist it. He wanted to seize the opportunity of the favored spirit. However, among all the fays, the heaven-blessed mansion was an incomparably sacred existence. It represented the fays' greatest faction in the origin world. The internal members of the Heaven's Blessed Dojo were always the Heaven's Blessed Spirits. However, there would be many spirit items added to the Heaven-Blessed Guest Hall. He became a non-staff member of the Heaven-Blessed Mansion. This was the lifelong goal of many fays. The threshold to become a non-staff member of the Heaven-Blessed Mansion was extremely high. He had to be at least a creation breed in order to have a chance. Among the spiritual creatures guarding the treasure cliff, his strength was considered relatively strong. However, the middle-aged woman still did not believe that she had the qualifications to become a non-staff member of the Heaven-Blessed Mansion. The mother of Bloodbath was making arrangements for the middle-aged woman. Actually, he had his own thoughts. These fays were following him to repay his mother's kindness. If he allowed these fays to join Sky City, when these fays were assigned missions, they might not have any complaints. But when working together with other white-clothed followers, fays were unruly and unwilling to be disciplined. It was inevitable that there would be disputes with the white-clothed followers. This was because there were no contracted fays. For example, the mother of Bloodbath had relied on its own abilities to comprehend willpower runes and contend with heaven and earth. Their temperaments were usually extremely domineering and unruly. Shuai had become Lin Yuan's protector. Afterward, she would stay by Lin Yuan's side. He handed these people over to his father and let his father deploy them. It was also equivalent to increasing the strength of Lin Yuan's side. He also saw blood beginning Blue Lotus and White Phoenix's mother of Bloodbath. He was now a member of the Heaven's Blessed Dojo. The mother of Bloodbath felt that Lin Yuan would definitely become a Radiance Envoy. When Lin Yuan became a Radiance Envoy, it would be the same as standing at the heart of the main world struggle. If the entire Heaven-Blessed Mansion could stand on Lin Yuan's side at that time, it would undoubtedly be of great help to him. It was said that a married daughter was like spilled water. The mother of Bloodbath was still a little spider waiting to be married. However, his mind was completely on Lin Yuan's side. Lin Yuan saw the fire elemental energy in the mother of Bloodbath's shadow show signs of overflowing. He knew that this was because the celestial Corona Jade Spider's wish had been fulfilled. These fire elements that had lost their obsession were about to dissipate and merge with heaven and earth. Lin Yuan hurriedly suggested to the mother of Bloodbath, "Mother of Bloodbath, the fire elemental energy here is showing signs of overflowing. In another 20 minutes, it will begin to disperse. It will completely dissipate within 2 hours. Try and see if you can absorb the fire elemental energy in this phantom. If I don't absorb it and use it, the energy will leak out. That would be a waste." The mother of Bloodbath shook its head gently. His celestial Corona Jade Spider bloodline was of the light attribute. This phantom was filled with fire elemental energy. The mother of Bloodbath could not absorb it. Blue Lotus had already told the mother of Bloodbath the secret of the Sky Corona Jade Spider bloodline. Therefore, only his father, Xue Sha, was the most suitable person to absorb the fire elemental energy within this phantom. Xue Sha was the weakest among all the hall masters of the Blessed Dojo. However, Xue Sha, who had become an eternal sovereign, had become a great sovereign. His foundation was already solid. As long as he absorbed the energy that was compatible with his own origin, his strength would increase rapidly. Xue Shua's celestial sundial jade spider bloodline came from the Jade Gui. Yu Gui had sacrificed all of his bloodline to Xue Shua at the critical moment of life and death. Thus, the fire elemental energy within this phantom was the same source as blood beginnings. After absorbing the fire elemental energy in this phantom, even if Xue Shua's strength couldn't reach the peak of the eternal realm, at the very least, he would be able to improve by a large margin. In just a few hours, the mother of Bloodbath already knew that her father, Xue Sha, was Xue Sha. He was an affectionate person. This phantom looked like its mother and contained the fire elemental energy within its mother when she was alive. This fire elemental energy allowed the mother of Bloodbath to sense its mother's aura. It could also allow Xue Shua to sense his wife's aura. Based on the mother of Bloodbath's understanding of Xue Sha, Xue Shua understood the situation. Not only would he not absorb the fire elemental energy within, he would also try his best to gather the fire elemental energy that was about to dissipate. He would also use his own fire elemental energy to nourish the fire elemental energy within the phantom. This was also that this phantom could be maintained for a longer period of time. Xue Shua was very powerful. In the beginning, it was not difficult to maintain the stability of the fire elemental energy within the phantom. However, at every moment, there would be its own fire elemental energy being consumed. As time passed, the fire elemental energy within Xue Shua's body would be constantly overdrawn. Overdrawing for a long period of time was very likely to cause Xue Shua's recently stabilized rank to fall from eternal to immortal. The mother of Bloodbath understood a principle since it was young. That was, the dead were gone, and the living could reminisce. If it really could not do anything, it should not be too difficult for itself. The mother of Bloodbath took out its cell phone and dialed Xue Shua's number. However, the mother of Bloodbath did not directly reveal the situation of this phantom. Instead, it released its exclusive skill, the external blood bone, which had condensed into 3 hornless dragons. They stood guard beside the phantom. These 3 hornless dragons had combat strength comparable to the mother of Bloodbath's main body. It was enough to protect the fire elemental energy within the phantom and prevent other fire-type fays from thinking about it. The mother of Bloodbath gave Lin Yuan a look. Shuai had just come out of the Radiant Moon Palace. He saw his daughter calling him. At the foot of the leaning moon mountain, he softly chatted with the mother of Bloodbath. The mother of Bloodbath had not brought up any topics. However, in the face of his long-lost daughter, even listening to the mother of Bloodbath's breathing, Shuai also felt very satisfied. Blue Lotus and White Phoenix were still in the Radiant Moon Palace. They continued to talk about the Tower Cannon with the Moon Empress. After the Moon Empress consideration, since the Heavens Blessed Dojo and the Tower Cannon were enemies, the Moon Empress, Blue Lotus, and White Phoenix exchanged information about the Tower Cannon. Chapter 1560. At that moment, Lin Yuan, the mother of Bloodbath, and the middle-aged woman had arrived at the core area where Bao Yin was. When he got closer, he suddenly realized something. The aura of this treasure rock was exactly the same as the aura of the woman's shadow. Perhaps it was even thicker. This treasure rock looked like a small section of a spider's leg. This small section of spider leg protruded out of the ground, nearly 20 meters high. Apart from the middle-aged woman, all the other fays in this place had the middle-aged woman as well. There was also a humanoid myth-breed fay with 2 broken arms and 1 broken leg. He was about to fall to the ground. The other fays that were unable to transform into human form were also severely injured. When these fays saw Lin Yuan, they clearly revealed vigilant expressions. However, after seeing the middle-aged woman and feeling the mother of Bloodbath's aura, the woman's expression changed. The fays quietened down. A look of admiration appeared on his face. Lin Yuan waved his hand and released the Diamond X/Fantasy V Jasmine Lily. The Jasmine Lily spun gently. The bud of mountain jade at the tip quietly bloomed. There was a green stalk in the middle of 3 white flowers. He spat out 3 torrents of life energy. The 3 torrents of life weaved into a huge net of life. All the fays had become a node in this huge net. The end of the life web converged on the humanoid myth-breed fay that had lost 2 arms and 1 leg. That humanoid myth-breed fay was already in despair. As a volcanic foxrat fay, it originally only had 4 limbs, but it was a volcanic foxrat. But because of the battle just now, it had lost 3 limbs at the same time. Even if he could get treatment in time, the volcano foxel would also lose its ability to move forever. As far as the volcanic foxrats knew, their limbs were broken. There was no possibility of recovery. Only those amphibious myth-breed fays would die after their limbs were broken. Only then would it be possible to use its own super regeneration talent to regrow its limbs. Even if it was a fay with super regeneration talent, it would not be able to survive in the amphibious fay category. Even so, it was only a minority. However, the volcano foxel didn't expect this. When the flood of life poured into his body, he felt a chill run down his spine. The cells in his body were instantly activated. A large amount of blood rushed to the 3 severed limbs. The life force in the torrent of life nourished the severed limb and actually activated its own genetic model. It allowed the limbs to regrow. After a short while, the volcanic foxel was shocked to discover something. His broken limbs were regenerating bit by bit. A huge surprise filled the volcanic foxrat's heart, even if he was fated to be born. It had been very difficult for the volcanic foxrats to reach this stage. Protecting the treasure rock had become the faith of the volcanic foxrats. The volcanic foxel was willing to sacrifice its life for this. However, the volcanic foxel also hoped that it could survive. Moreover, he didn't live like a cripple. Otherwise, if someone had designs on Bao Yin again, he would lose his ability to fight. He could only watch helplessly as Bao Yin was snatched away. After being healed by Lin Yuan, these fays bowed toward him to express his gratitude. These fays had a question in their minds. The person who helped him just now seemed to be a fool. Why is he talking to the air? Furthermore, what he said involved the soul. How strange. The soul thought whale was a legendary spirit creature. It would only appear when Lin Yuan and Bai Lan fused together, allowing others to see it. Usually, when Lin Yuan summoned it out, it would not be able to do so. Only Lin Yuan could see the figure of the soul thought whale. Under Lin Yuan's instructions, the soul thought whale used soul knot. It began to filter the souls collected near the treasure rock. A huge battle had just happened here. Many fays had perished. Therefore, no matter how the soul thought whale filtered, it would only get those fays that had just died in battle. Lin Yuan could clearly feel it. There was an aura similar to the woman's shadow inside the treasure rock. However, the soul thought whale soul could not directly explore inside an object. Therefore, he wanted to see if this treasure rock contained the Jade Gui's soul. He needed to destroy this treasure rock. Lin Yuan couldn't make a decision on his own. He looked at the Mother of Bloodbath. The Mother of Bloodbath saw Lin Yuan's gaze and saw him make a smashing action toward the treasure rock. The Mother of Bloodbath was stunned. After pondering for less than 3 seconds, the Mother of Bloodbath made a decision. The other fays were dumbfounded. The Mother of Bloodbath reached out and broke off a human-tall stone at the tip of the treasure rock. At the same time, Lin Yuan immediately let the soul thought whale use soul knot. At that moment, Xue Shuo realized that something was wrong. The Mother of Bloodbath had said that she had something to do with Lin Yuan. Now, she had called him and talked for a full 8 minutes, but she hadn't said anything serious. Moreover, there was a feeling that there was something hidden in her words. Xue Shuo immediately confirmed that the Mother of Bloodbath must have encountered something. Xue Shuo couldn't help but feel anxious. "Little Qing, where are you now? I'm done here. I'll look for you immediately." At that moment, the Mother of Bloodbath saw Lin Yuan's face reveal a sunny smile. He nodded heavily to himself. The Mother of Bloodbath, which was suppressing its worries, suddenly burst into tears and flowed down like a mountain torrent. Lin Yuan didn't comfort the Mother of Bloodbath. It had been suppressed for so long. It really needed to vent its emotions. When Xue Shuo heard the Mother of Bloodbath suddenly cry, he panicked. As a father, Xue Shuo subconsciously thought, could it be that Lin Yuan bullied the Mother of Bloodbath and didn't want to take responsibility? The more Xue Shuo thought, the more anxious he became. He heard the Mother of Bloodbath say, with a sobbing tone, "Dad, Lin Yuan helped to search for Mother's soul in the land of lava. Mother still has a chance to be resurrected." The Mother of Bloodbath's words made the anxious Xue Shuo on the other end of the phone. He stood there in a daze for a long time. A 9-foot man was squatting on the ground at the foot of Radiant Moon Mountain. He happily hit the ground with his hands. The corners of his mouth clearly wanted to curl up, but the sourness in his heart and the sadness of parting. All sorts of mixed emotions surged in his heart. It forcibly suppressed the corners of Xue Shuo's mouth. Tears of the same temperature as the Mother of Bloodbath. They flowed out of Xue Shuo's eyes as he held his head with both hands. The Mother of Bloodbath could clearly feel the change in its father's aura. The Mother of Bloodbath could imagine how happy Xue Shuo was at this moment. But time waited for no one. There were still 7 to 8 minutes left before the fire elements in the phantom dissipated. The Mother of Bloodbath hurriedly said, "Dad, come to the land of lava now. You will be able to sense my location when you reach the land of lava. Mom is here. She left something for you. If you don't come and collect it, this thing will spill into the world." Chapter 1561. As soon as the Mother of Bloodbath's voice fell, an anomaly appeared on the sun in the sky. The people who caught a glimpse of the sun in every corner of the origin world suddenly discovered that, on the sun overhead, spider-like patterns actually appeared. The next moment, Xue Shuo's figure emerged from the sunlight of the lava land. The spider pattern on the sun also disappeared at this moment. Everyone thought that they were seeing things. Xue Shuo, who had just arrived at the land of lava, immediately saw the figure of a woman with a corona on her head. At this moment, Xue Shuo opened his arms in a daze. His body suddenly grew taller. It only stopped when it reached the same height as the woman's silhouette. Then, Xue Shuo's enlarged figure reached out and gently embraced her. The woman who had just hugged the Mother of Bloodbath was now being hugged by Xue Shuo. It was as if there should have been a baby in the whirling years. It appeared in the arms of Xue Shuo and the woman's shadow. Under the meticulous care of Xue Shaw and the illusory woman, she was like a princess, to live a happy life in the world. It was an arachnid fae. Like the mother of Bloodbath, Xue Shuo was not good at expressing his emotions. However, Xue Shuo's emotions had already reached the point of insanity. It could be said that in recent years, the main theme of Blood Beginning's emotions have been sadness. Ever since Xue Shuo could remember, all the joyful emotions added up couldn't compare to what he felt today. Today, Xue Shuo had found his and Yu Gui's lost child, Xue Qing. Furthermore, the child had acknowledged his identity as his father. More importantly, Xue Shuo actually heard that there was a chance for Jade Gui to be resurrected. Xue Shuo found it hard to believe, because Xue Shuo had seen Yu Gui die with his own eyes. Before he died, he even extracted his bloodline. But Xue Shuo believed in his daughter. There was no way he would lie to her about the Jade Gui. Xue Shuo's tears fell on the silhouette's hair. A faint mist rose from the ground. At that moment, one of the three hornless dragons spoke. "Dad, hurry up and absorb all the fire elements that Mother left behind. I'll need your help to collect Mother's soul later." "Dad, I know you don't want to absorb the fire elements Mother left behind, but if these fire elements are not absorbed, they will be wasted." "Daddy, only by becoming stronger can you protect me and Mother when we encounter danger in the future." Originally, Xue Shuo had not intended to absorb the fire elemental energy. Instead, he planned to use his own methods. He stored the fire elemental energy, even if it would affect him. However, the mother of Bloodbath's comforting words pierced Xue Shuo's heart like an awl. That's right. If he was strong enough, how could he have looked at the 5 pages of truth helplessly? He launched a sneak attack on Yu Gui when she was giving birth. How could he let his daughter go missing? Everything that had happened was because he wasn't strong enough. Now, 2 of the 8 pages of the Pagoda Canon were about to enter Radiance. The Freedom Federation and the Azure Federation's envoys would come to the Radiance Federation to observe the ceremony. He had just conversed with the Moon Empress in the Radiant Moon Palace. Xue Shuo could sense that the Radiance Federation was a sleeping lion. He had already bared his fangs at Ta Dian Station. The whale ocean trade must have been the needle that had awakened Hui Yao, the lion. Therefore, he needed to be strong enough. Only then could he protect his daughter. Then he looked forward to the day when his wife could be resurrected. He thanked Lin Yuan for his kindness. According to the mother of Bloodbath, it was Lin Yuan who had helped collect the Jade Gui's soul. Lin Yuan had saved the mother of Bloodbath's life several times. He had also allowed the mother of Bloodbath to successfully awaken the favored spirit's bloodline. If the mother of Bloodbath hadn't triggered the sun phenomenon when it had transformed into the favored spirit, Xue Shuo wasn't sure if he had reached the Radiance Federation, whether he could find the mother of Bloodbath whose bloodline had yet to awaken. Apart from his daughter's favor, Xue Shuo had to repay Lin Yuan. He also had to repay Lin Yuan for resurrecting his wife. However, Xue Shuo felt that even if he did it in front of Lin Yuan, he had disassembled himself and turned his entire body into spiritual materials. It was far from enough to repay Lin Yuan. Furthermore, the Jade Gui had been the Heaven's Blessed Dojo's second hallmaster. Lin Yuan had resurrected the Jade Gui, which meant that he was the benefactor of the entire Heaven's Blessed Dojo. Only God knew how happy Big Sister Ziqing would be when she found out. Feeling the phantom in his arms, the fire elements began to dissipate. Xue Shuo's body was suddenly surrounded by reddish-gold flames. The sunset bathrobe draped over Xue Shuo's body. Xue Shuo's red hair was dyed gold. His eyes, one red and one orange, ignited with a glazed flame. The fire elements in the woman's phantom came from the same source as the fire elements in Xue Shuo's body. At this moment, the fire elements in the phantom were like young birds flying into the forest. All of them entered Xue Shuo's body. The aura in Xue Shuo's body suddenly rose a few notches. The eternal aura on Xue Shuo's body grew stronger and stronger. The sun in the sky seemed to be celebrating this moment. The cotton candy-like clouds in the sky, under the light and heat emitted by the sun, evaporated. They were all evaporated. Everywhere, even if it was raining just a moment ago. At this moment, everything became a sunny day. At this moment, the mother of Bloodbath, who was using the external blood bone to check on Shue Shua's situation, discovered something. On Shue Shua's neck, a magnificent sun totem was climbing up his face. The sun totem's climbing process was like the sun's rise. This kind of totem was not an imprint on the body. Instead, it was a kind of condensed light and shadow. At this moment, the mother of Bloodbath saw Shue Shua turn his head. His fingers gently tapped on the horns of the 3 hornless dragons. Then, on the bodies of the 3 scarlet blood hornless dragons. Suddenly, the same sun totem as the one on Shue Shua's face climbed up. 3 layers of sunset bathrobes draped over the 3 scarlet blood dragons. This made the 3 scarlet blood dragons look extraordinarily ferocious. It also added a hint of elegance and brilliance. "Dad, what is this?" Shue Shua answered the mother of Bloodbath's question and explained softly. After the blessed spirit ascends to the eternal realm and reaches the 3rd of the 12 cycles of the eternal realm, the blessed spirit can then use the blessed spirit. Under normal circumstances, the blessed spirit can only be used once every 10 years. However, these 3 hornless dragons formed from your venomous fangs are in essence just 3 fangs. I've split the divine blessing into 3 portions. It's been applied to these 3 scarlet blood dragons. The Blue Lotus's blessed spirit is a blessing with auxiliary functions. When it was used for Lin Yuan, it made the water elements extremely friendly to him. Even the most violent phase that used water elements as their source energy would not attack Lin Yuan. Such blessings did not have much practical use to Lin Yuan. Not only will my blessed spirit not help Lin Yuan, but it might also increase his burden. It might even increase Lin Yuan's burden. That's because my divine blessing consumes the bloodline energy within the Blessed One's body. This might be due to my scarlet tarantula bloodline's effect on the Blessed Spirit. Chapter 1562. A look of reminiscence appeared on Shue Shua's face as he spoke. He pondered for a moment before continuing. My blessings are different from your mother's, Jade Gui's. However, this change has also made my divine blessings attacks even more powerful. These 3 hornless dragons are wearing sunset bathrobes. It has the power to burn undying. It's just that every time it's used, it needs to absorb the sun's energy to recharge. Daughter, within 10 years, you won't have to be afraid of any beings below the undying realm. In these 10 years, I will think of a way to help you reach the immortal realm. Parents love their children, so they must have a long-term plan for them. Even though it was Shue Shua's first day finding the mother of Bloodbath, he still had a long way to go. However, he had already begun to plot for the mother of Bloodbath. How pitiful parents are! Shue Shua's words echoed throughout the entire Fey world, and no one dared to tell their children. It was a pinnacle mythical Fey that could allow its offspring to never become a creation breed within 10 years. He directly broke through to the Genesis tier and finally became an immortal tier cultivator. Furthermore, there were no Fays that could help their children transcend 2 major grades. He wanted his children to use their mythical bodies to fight against the immortal enemies. Shue Shua's promise to the mother of Bloodbath required him to fulfill it within 10 years. He kept running around for it. Perhaps this was Shue Shua's silent interpretation of fatherly love for the mother of Bloodbath. Upon hearing that, the mother of Bloodbath's eyes couldn't help but sting. The mother of Bloodbath said softly, "Dad, come with me. Actually, you don't have to be so tired. It'll be great if you can accompany me more often in the future." Perhaps the most urgent thing for the mother of Bloodbath now was to increase its strength. The mother of Bloodbath felt that Lin Yuan was more like its path protector if it did not improve its strength. He was the one being protected. But now, the mother of Bloodbath, which had received Shue Shua's blessing, could fight an immortal expert head-on. In the short term, he could already take on the responsibility of Lin Yuan's path protector. Moreover, Lin Yuan's subordinate Bai Yin had reached the peak of immortal realm. Even if the Mother of Bloodbath's strength had been enhanced through the heavenly blessing, it would not be able to defeat the Mother of Bloodbath. However, he still couldn't compare to Bai Yin. Thus, the Mother of Bloodbath had no choice but to face reality. Within a year, the Mother of Bloodbath had seen Lin Yuan walk step by step from zero to where he was now. 10 years, even if he really became an undying. Who knew what level Lin Yuan had reached? Therefore, instead of letting his father run around everywhere for him, it was better to use the eternal strength to secretly protect Lin Yuan. In this way, he could always meet Shuai. Shuai heard the Mother of Bloodbath's words. A loving smile appeared on his face. Although he did not say anything, Shuai had already decided to do so. However, Shuai's thoughts would soon be changed by Lin Yuan. He followed the hornless dragon formed by the Mother of Bloodbath blood and bones all the way to the center of the lava field. Shuai immediately saw the spider-legged Bao Yin. None of the people present had seen the true form of the Jade Gui with their own eyes. However, not only had Shuai seen it, he had even touched it. Therefore, Shuai was certain that the Bao Yin was in the shape of one of Shuai's legs. However, Shuai also knew that this treasure rock wasn't really formed from the Jade Gui's spider leg. Presumably, it was a part of the Jade Gui's soul that had been nourished by the fire element transformed from its body. Slowly, it melted into the rocks here. Finally, because of the soul's form, it changed the shape of the rocks. The soul that Lin Yuan mentioned should be collecting the remnant soul in the Jade Gui and the Bao Yin. In Shuai's opinion, this remnant soul could only be a thought. Even if it gathered, it couldn't be considered resurrection. However, just this thought alone, to Shuai, it was already a treasure that he could cherish for the rest of his life. At this moment, Shuai heard Lin Yuan say to him, "Uncle Shui, this Bao Yin is harder than Shui Qing, and I expected. I still need you to break this Bao Yin. Only then can I collect the soul in this Bao Yin." With the strength of an immortal, Shuai could keenly sense it. There was a living being beside Lin Yuan. This living being was constantly filtering and screening the surrounding souls. This discovery secretly shocked Shuai. Shuai was able to discover this living being precisely because it was constantly mobilizing the souls. Otherwise, to Shuai, this living being, it was a living being that could become completely invisible. Looking at Shuai's expression, Lin Yuan didn't have to use his ability to fuse with blue. This would allow Shuai to directly see the soul remembrance whale. The soul remembrance whale was of great importance and had already become an important trump card for Lin Yuan. There were so many phases here. Lin Yuan couldn't expose the soul remembrance whale. However, Lin Yuan didn't mind explaining to Shuai, "Uncle Shui, although he doesn't have much combat ability, but he can use spiritual materials that contain soul power to nourish the remnant soul. And finally, the remnant soul will become complete. It's just that for the soul to awaken its memories, it needs enough remnant souls." When Shuai heard Lin Yuan's words, he was stunned again. Then, he rushed to Lin Yuan's side in ecstasy and lost his composure. Jade Gui's remnant soul can become complete and awaken its memories? Is it true? Is that really true? Lin Yuan couldn't help but roll his eyes. The Mother of Bloodbath had clearly said over the phone that Anti-Jade Gui could be resurrected. "Uncle Shui, you heard it. Anti-Jade Gui's soul will not be complete. It won't awaken its memories. What kind of resurrection is that? Uncle Shui, you're an adult. Can't you be more mature?" However, Lin Yuan could understand Shuai's feelings. If his parents could be resurrected now, Lin Yuan would probably be just as excited and lose his composure. However, Lin Yuan and Chu Ci didn't have such luck. Shuai was now hearing such shocking news. What he needed the most was an affirmative answer from Lin Yuan. That's right, but the prerequisite is that there are enough remnant souls in this treasure rock. Otherwise, it's very likely that Annie Jade Gui will lose part of her memories after resurrection. Of course, these memories are the fainter ones in Annie Jade Gui's mind. Just like you, Shu Etching and the Heaven-Blessed Dojo's Hall Masters. It's impossible for Annie Jade Gouet to forget. When Shuai heard that, he bowed to Lin Yuan and said, I really don't know how to thank you. For the rest of my life, you'll be asking me to do things that will definitely kill me. For the rest of my life, you'll be asking me to do things that will definitely kill me. I'll do it without hesitation. The soul of a myth breed, Fae, could already condense into a physical body. Jade Gouet, which had become eternal, could naturally do the same. As long as Jade Gouet's soul could condense and obtain its memories, even without a body, Shuai and the Mother of Bloodbath's family would still be complete and happy. This was something that Shuai wouldn't even dare to dream of. If it were in the past, Shuai would definitely not bear to break this treasure rock that had fused with Jade Gouet's remnant soul. But now, Shuai stepped forward. He reached out and crushed the treasure rock into dust. Shuai crushed it very carefully. He was afraid that this Fae beside Lin Yuan wouldn't be able to extract all the soul power in the treasure rock. This was because Shuai still remembered Jade Gouet's greatest wish before her death. It was to take a look at his daughter. After the soul thought whale had identified a type of soul, it could release a waveform through the whale's brain. It could search this type of soul. Soon, the soul thought whale gathered all the sky corona jade spider's remnant soul through its soul knot ability. However, during the search, Lin Yuan's brows were tightly knitted. Chapter 1563. Every time the spirit thought whale searched, it would find the remnant soul of the sky corona jade spider. However, the remnant souls that he had collected were too weak. In the end, a large number of remnant souls gathered together. However, he couldn't even draw out the shape of the Tiankue jade spider. Now, Shuai was about to crush more than half of the spider-legged treasure rock. Based on this progress, Lin Yuan felt that, in the end, the soul thought whale used its exclusive skill, Burning Soul Rebirth. He consumed a large amount of spirit materials to repair the Jade Gouet's soul. Yu Gouet's soul should not have been able to retain too many memories. Even Shuai and the Mother of Bloodbath might not be able to remember them. Both Shuai and the Mother of Bloodbath were looking forward to their wives' resurrection. One was looking forward to his mother's resurrection. Both of them were looking forward to the reunion of the family of three. Such a fact might be cruel. However, he had to tell Blood Beginning and the Mother of Bloodbath, because there was no way to lie about such things. From a moment, she saw Lin Yuan frown. Shuai and the Mother of Bloodbath's hearts jumped. He thought that something had gone wrong. However, they did not dare to ask Lin Yuan. He was afraid that he would delay Lin Yuan from commanding the soul thought whale to search for the soul. At that moment, they heard Lin Yuan speak. Uncle Blood, Mother of Bloodbath, I have something to tell you. You have to be mentally prepared. Yu Gouet's soul fragment is too small in this treasure rock. It's so rare that it can't even form a soul. Even if I eventually complete Yu Gouet's soul. When you see Yu Gouet's soul again, she might not remember you anymore. The Mother of Bloodbath's expression collapsed, but Shuai did not. Shuai had never thought that Jade Gouet could be resurrected. This was because Shuai did not expect Lin Yuan to have a way to restore the remnant soul. In the Heaven's Blessed Mansion, there were many objects that had been contaminated by the aura of the Jade Gouet, just like the silk handkerchief in Zi Qing's hand. It was after Yu Gouet's death that Big Sister Zi Qing came to the lava field. He used a method of gathering souls. She gathered all the souls in the land of lava into the silk handkerchief that the Jade Gouet usually used. That silk handkerchief definitely contained many of Yu Gouet's soul fragments. At that time, he just needed to ask Big Sister Zi Qing to bring the silk handkerchief over. Just let Lin Yuan command the Fae to absorb it. After Shuai explained the situation, Lin Yuan heaved a sigh of relief. The Mother of Bloodbath's face was no longer depressed. The Mother of Bloodbath turned around and spoke to the Fae guarding at the side. Go to the inner circle of the lava fields. If anyone comes to the core area to investigate, remember to explain the situation to them. Do not clash with the Bronze Cauldron guards of Bronze Cauldron City. The Fae standing at the side heard the Mother of Bloodbath's instructions. He immediately moved and gave up the core area. After the phase had left, Lin Huang's eyes lit up. The mother of Bloodbath summoned its sacred source life form, the myriad medicine hot spring. There was a spring that was filled with mist. He quietly appeared at the mother of Bloodbath's feet. Through the mist, he could faintly see the underwater ruins. There were already hundreds of spirit plants. Clearly, the mother of Bloodbath had not relaxed its absorption of the myriad medicine spring's spirit herbs. The mother of Bloodbath whispered to Shueisha, "Dad, this is the sacred source life form that Lin Yuan found for me." Back then, it was Lin Yuan who won the civil and martial duels as a reward. Shueisha was stunned when he heard the mother of Bloodbath's words. Could it be that little Qing wants to tell me how good Lin Yuan is? Is she going to announce her relationship with Lin Yuan in front of me? The moment this thought appeared, it immediately made Shueisha, the newbie dad, break out in a cold sweat. Shueisha hoped that such a situation would not happen, because in such a situation, Shueisha would not be able to withstand it. If the mother of Bloodbath had been by Shueisha's side since young, the mother of Bloodbath had told Shueisha who she was going to be with. Shueisha would definitely threaten the brat who had abducted his daughter. He would tell him that if he dared to bully little Qing, he would beat him up and teach him a lesson. But Lin Yuan was now the benefactor of Shueisha's family of three. Let Shueisha threaten Lin Yuan. Shueisha could not do such a thing. But seriously, Lin Yuan was really good to little Qing. Even the prize for first place was given to Shao Qing. Just as Shueisha was in a mess, the mother of Bloodbath continued to speak. "Dad, my sacred source life form is called the Myriad Medicine Hot Spring. It doesn't match my fighting style at all. When I first got it, I was very depressed." Shueisha was even more confused when he heard the mother of Bloodbath's words. Once a sacred source life form was contracted, there was no way to change it. Could it be that little Qing wanted to be comforted by him? Just as Shueisha was about to comfort the mother of Bloodbath, the mother of Bloodbath changed the topic and said, "Dad, this sacred source life form doesn't match me, but it's my favorite among all the sacred source life forms I've seen so far. Right now, the Myriad Medicine Hot Spring has absorbed a few hundred plants with medicinal properties. I feel more and more that the Myriad Medicine Hot Spring can reconstruct the body. After Lin Yuan condenses Mother's soul, I can use Lin Yuan's help. As long as I obtain a part of Mother's body, I have the confidence to activate that part of Mother's body. Let Mother's body regenerate." The mother of Bloodbath's words were definitely not to comfort Shueisha. This was originally a thought. When a Myriad Medicine Hot Spring absorbed the first spirit plant, the blood peach blossom, the mother of Bloodbath did not feel any obvious changes in the Myriad Medicine Hot Spring. Thus, it did not take Lin Yuan's idea too seriously. However, quantitative change led to qualitative change. Now, the mother of Bloodbath could clearly feel it. The Myriad Medicine Hot Spring's healing ability when it was stacked with medicinal properties. Although the mother of Bloodbath had not found a way to let objects regenerate according to the genetic model, Lin Yuan's Jasmine Lily was already able to do this. With the Jasmine Lily's help, the Myriad Medicine Hot Spring did not need to master this ability. Shueisha heard the mother of Bloodbath's words. Once again, he was so excited that he did not know what to do. Shueisha felt that from birth until now. Except for the day of the Jade Gui's death, there was no other day. It was even greater than the ups and downs of his emotions today. It was just as his daughter had said. The Jade Gui could not only maintain life in a soul state, it could also reconstruct the body. While Shueisha was happy, he was also secretly surprised. The mother of Bloodbath's sacred source life form, the Myriad Medicine Hot Spring, together with Lin Yuan's invisible Fae. Wouldn't it be able to resurrect the dead? Thinking of this, Shueisha suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. This ability broke the laws of birth, aging, sickness, and death. Once outsiders found out, no matter what identity the mother of Bloodbath and Lin Yuan had, they would be in danger of being targeted. Chapter 1564. Fortunately, the mother of Bloodbath had diverted those Faes. Otherwise, if the mother of Bloodbath directly revealed the Myriad Herb Hot Spring to those Faes, the myriad herb hot spring wouldn't be able to survive. In order to ensure the safety of his daughter and Lin Yuan, Shuai was very afraid of him. He had no choice but to kill those loyal fays. Just as Shuai was about to warn Lin Yuan and the mother of bloodbath, Shuai suddenly realized that Lin Yuan was in a state of epiphany. At this moment, a willpower rune related to the soul appeared. It formed in Lin Yuan's mind. The soul force of this rune disassembled and reassembled it. The cycle repeated, as though the spirit remembrance whale was searching and gathering souls. This willpower rune was related to the combination of souls. Lin Yuan had comprehended it when he had sensed the soul thought whale and condensed the jade Gui soul. It was very suitable for the soul thought whale. He opened his eyes and revealed a smile. He didn't expect to receive such an unexpected reward from helping the mother of bloodbath resurrect its mother. When the soul thought whale became a fantasy breed, he could raise the soul thought whale's strength to Diamond X. At that time, the speed at which the soul thought whale condensed the soul would undoubtedly increase. It could speed up the condensation and completion of the soul of the Jade Gui. Apart from that, the remembrance spirit whale's rank had increased. It would allow Morbius to break through the limit of silver rank level 10, promoted to the gold rank. At the same time that Lin Yuan obtained a new spirit lock, Fei, Morbius, who had been asleep for a long time, might very well wake up again. Lin Yuan had been looking forward to this day for a long time. At this time, Bronze Cauldron City's Bronze Cauldron Guard had reached the inner circle of the lava field. All the fire elemental energy in the lava field had been used up. The changes to the environment around the city would affect Bronze Cauldron City's industries. It directly caused a huge impact. Bronze Cauldron City used to be a big city next to a forest, rich in spirit fruits and flowers. The formation of the lava field forced Bronze Cauldron City to reorganize their industries. But now, Bronze Cauldron City had just recovered a bit of its vitality. Unexpectedly, the environment changed again. If this mutation was really irreversible, then it would be impossible to reverse it. Bronze Cauldron City's Yuan Qi would be greatly damaged again. All the industrial arrangements had to be overturned and started anew. But how could it be so easy to change the layout of the industry over the years? The captain of the Bronze Cauldron City personally went out to investigate. The more he probed, the colder his heart became, because the Bronze Furnace Guard captain had noticed. How could there be any trace of fire elemental energy in this land of lava? Damn the heavens! Do you want to torture Bronze Furnace City to death? The more he looked, the angrier the Bronze Furnace Guard captain became. He noticed a group of fays guarding this place. They actually blocked his path, not allowing him to check out the situation in the core region. The Bronze Cauldron Guard captain immediately roared in anger. The fire elemental energy in the lava field has disappeared. Is it your doing? If so, hurry up and return the fire elemental energy from the lava. The Bronze Cauldron Guard captain became angrier the more he thought about it. At this moment, all the major cities were preparing to build mirror cities in the abyss. Due to the changes in the environment of Bronze Cauldron City, it was only now that he had recovered. Bronze Furnace City, which had just recovered, was just in time to build a mirror city in the abyss world. Bronze Cauldron City was in a difficult situation. Not long ago, two old factions tried to move away from Bronze Cauldron City. Su Quan, the head of the Bronze Furnace Guard, finally managed to persuade him. But now, the environment outside of Bronze Cauldron City had changed. All the industries that used fire elemental energy as a foundation in Bronze Cauldron City had been destroyed. Now, Bronze Cauldron City was ranked second from the bottom among the 32 major cities of the Radiant Alliance. Damn it! This year's selection, Bronze Cauldron City, will definitely be last. What disgrace! If not for the fact that he had signed contracts with the high-grade phase in the lava field. These high-grade phase would secretly protect the Spirit Chi professionals who came to the lava field to train. In return, Bronze Cauldron City would divide the core region of the lava field for these phase to live in. Although it was common for foreign phase to attack the native Spirit Chi professionals of Bronze Cauldron City. But this batch of phase that had signed contracts with Bronze Cauldron City all performed very well. Thus, Su Quan forcibly suppressed the anger in his heart. Otherwise, Su Quan was afraid that he would directly attack the phase that the Mother of Bloodbath had arranged to guard the inner region. He remembered that the Mother of Bloodbath had specifically warned him not to clash with Bronze Cauldron City's Bronze Cauldron Guard. The middle-aged woman took a few steps forward and said, "No matter what you say, I will not let you pass. Similarly, if you do not force your way in, we will not attack you either. If there is anything, wait for a master to arrive." Hearing this, Su Quan was shocked. Since when did these fays in the core region of the lava field have a master? These fays were obviously here to guard the core region. The changes in the lava field must have something to do with these phase masters. Su Quan was the captain of Bronze Cauldron City's Bronze Cauldron Guards. He could not just watch as Bronze Cauldron City changed because of the environment. The entire city's industrial layout changed. If that was the case, only the heavens knew what kind of residents in Bronze Cauldron City would be. What kind of hard life would they have? Thinking of this, Su Quan gave a few Bronze Cauldron Guards behind him a look. They immediately turned and ran toward Bronze Cauldron City. These people were not going back to Bronze Cauldron City, but to find a place to hide. They were calling the Spirit Guards branch in Bronze Cauldron City, requesting the Spirit Guards to send more experts. Under normal circumstances, these fays were only at myth 3 at most. Su Quan alone could handle them, but he had not seen these fays masters yet. Su Quan could not let his guard down. After sending people to find reinforcements, Su Quan waved his hand, and 2 humanoid fays appeared beside him. These 2 humanoid fays were holding weapons in their hands. It showed that the strength of these 2 humanoid fays was at least at myth 3. Seeing Su Quan summon the fays, the middle-aged woman and the fays behind her were shocked, just as they were about to defend and counterattack. A youth's voice echoed in the wilderness. "Stop!" At this moment, Su Quan was extremely anxious. Hearing someone tell him to stop, Su Quan yelled angrily, "Stop my ass! Who do you think you are? You think you can control me?" Just as Su Quan finished speaking, a small object flew straight towards him. Su Quan reached out and grabbed the object in his hand. It was a small Class 2 Creation Master crest. Seeing that it was a Creation Master crest, Su Quan was a little confused. Even if you're really a Class 2 Creation Master, what right do you have to tell me to stop? But when he saw the moon totem on the Class 2 Creation Master's crest, Su Quan's mouth was wide open, and he was stunned. Chapter 1565. He was the city guard captain of Radiant City. He was also a Class 3 Creation Master, Su Quan. He understood better than the other city guard captains who were not Creation Masters the meaning of the totem mark on the Creation Master's crest. Any Class 4 Creation Master who accepted a disciple, they could add their own totem on the disciple's crest. But in the entire Radiance, only Her Majesty had a totem related to the moon. Oh my God, could it be that I just said Her Majesty's disciple? Just now, in a fit of anger, he seemed to have said something very rude. Su Quan shrunk his neck, but at the same time, as the city guard captain of Bronze Cauldron City, Su Quan was responsible for the economic and industrial layout of the city. He had to go to the core area to see the situation. If he met the Moon Empress disciple, Su Quan felt that he could communicate with the Moon Empress disciple. It was said that the crying child would get milk. If the lava land's fire element was used up, it would be irreversible. This change was really related to the Moon Empress disciple. The Moon Empress disciple had to think of a way out for Bronze Furnace City, right? Bronze Furnace City's overall revenue was tight. As the second lowest city in the Radiant sect, Bronze Furnace City had to build a mirror city in the Abyss world. It was really hard for Bronze Furnace City. The Class 6 Abyss Dimensional Rift had only opened for a few days. But for Ascending Dragon City, Raging Wave City, Cloud Pool City, Indigo Azure City, and other big cities. In the Abyss world, they had marked the boundaries of their cities. They had already started to transport large amounts of materials to the Abyss world. They were ready to build the city. Bronze Furnace City could also mark the boundaries. But Bronze Furnace City was so poor that they did not even have the materials ready. Things like building materials were considered economic resources. No matter how poor Bronze Furnace City was they could tighten their belts and build a mirror city. They could always take them out. But even if they took out the materials, the bronze furnace guard could not do it in a short period of time. They had to drive away or clean up the abyss demons in the marked areas. The most expensive thing in this world was always the Creation Master's resources. Bronze Furnace City was so poor that the Bronze Furnace Guard did not have many resources. There were not many Creation Masters invested in them. As the city guard captain, Su Quan was a Class 3 Creation Master. Last night, he was still concocting the spiritual liquid. He was prepared to help his brothers increase their strength. If Bronze Cauldron City were to suffer another calamity, it could only be someone as important as the Moon Empress disciple. That was the only way to save Bronze Cauldron City. At this moment, Su Quan saw 3 figures approaching from afar. One of them was a man and a woman with red hair. At a glance, these 2 people were humanoid phase. The black-clothed youth at the side looked to be only 17 or 18 years old. However, this youth was undoubtedly more like the Moon Empress disciple. The arrival of the Mother of Bloodbath and Xue Sha made the phase completely quiet down. The middle-aged woman walked to the Mother of Bloodbath and said with some grievance, "Those spirit chi professionals are very unreasonable and insist on barging in. If I say no, prepare to fight us." The Mother of Bloodbath did not say anything. Instead, he looked at Lin Yuan. At this moment, Su Quan had already walked up to them. He was holding the Class 2 Creation Master crest that had the moon totem on it with both hands. He bent over and handed it back to Lin Yuan. "My lord, I am Bronze Cauldron City's City Guard Captain, Su Quan. I would like to ask you something since you rushed over from the Lava Land's central region. Did the anomaly in the Lava Land's central region cause the fire elemental energy to disappear?" Lin Yuan frowned slightly when he heard Su Quan's words. He roughly understood why Su Quan was so concerned about the fire elemental energy in the Lava Land. What exactly was going on? Lin Yuan, who was born in Redbud City, had clearly felt the changes in the environment. It affected the city's economy. Redbud City had been raining for many years. The plant phase in the surrounding Fey breeding bases required a lot of water. However, there was one year when the rain in Redbud City suddenly decreased. This caused the production of plant phase that required a lot of rain to be poor. The price correspondingly increased. At that time, Lin Yuan had just taken over the Fey store not long ago. Lin Yuan, who did not have any savings, caught up with the sudden increase in the price of plant phase. It was not a small problem for Lin Yuan and Chu Xi's survival. After understanding Su Quan's concerns, Lin Yuan answered truthfully. The fire elemental energy in the lava field has indeed been depleted. In the future, it will be impossible to recover. Upon hearing that, Su Quan's face fell. Previously, because of the formation of the lava field, Bronze Furnace City had been completely destroyed. It was extremely difficult to transform an industry. Now, because of the disappearance of the lava field, the transformation of Bronze Cauldron City's industries would be painful. He wondered how many civilians there were in Bronze Cauldron City. Due to the sudden change in the environment and the disruption of the industrial chain, they could not afford to eat. Now that something like this had happened, it had to be reported. His Majesty Cicada Cry would definitely allocate resources. It was a small matter for him and the city lord to lose face. However, even if those ordinary people and spirit chi professionals received the relief funds, they would not be able to do so. The despair of having your property destroyed and your job lost. There was no way to erase it from her heart. Su Quan could foresee that it would take at least 100 years. Even Bronze Furnace City would not be able to walk out of the shadow of the lava field. In order to fulfill the conditions of establishing a foothold in the Abyss world, Bronze Furnace City had set up a base. All the funds had to be invested in the Abyss world and the construction of the Mirror Image City, and the livelihood of the citizens in the city. There was no money to invest in Creation Master resources. The more Bronze Cauldron City developed, the more it would deteriorate. The more Su Quan thought about it, the sadder he felt. His eyes reddened. For the future of Bronze Cauldron City, Su Quan planned to have a good talk with the Moon Empress disciple. If the Moon Empress disciple did not care about this matter, he just patted his butt and left. As the city guard captain of Bronze Cauldron City, it was difficult for Su Quan to acknowledge this so-called disciple, even if this youth would become the leader of Radiance in the future. But Su Quan did not expect that before he could speak. The youth in front of him had already spoken. This time, the anomaly in the lava field outside Bronze Cauldron City. It's because my friend absorbed the fire element energy here. I know that this will have a huge impact on Bronze Cauldron City. I am prepared to do something for Bronze Cauldron City. You are the city guard captain of Bronze Cauldron City. You should know what kind of resources Bronze Cauldron City urgently needs. Upon hearing that, Su Quan took a deep look at Lin Yuan. No matter what, this youth was able to say such a thing. It meant that this youth was a responsible person. But even if this youth was the Moon Empress disciple, Su Quan still did not believe that the resources this youth gave, it could make up for Bronze Cauldron City's losses. Chapter 1566. Su Quan felt bad, so he told Lin Yuan directly. Because Bronze Furnace City is surrounded by a forest that produces metal resources. Among the 32 major cities of Radiance, it's not the best, but it's still average. But the formation of the lava lands makes it extremely difficult to mine the metal resources in Bronze Furnace City. The forest has also been burned to ashes. Back then, Bronze Furnace City took a long time to complete the industry transformation. We relied on planting fire-type spiritual materials and nurturing fire-type phase. There was only a slight improvement in the year before last. Your friend is a Fae, so there's nothing wrong with him absorbing fire-type energy. But with the lava land's fire-type energy sucked dry, it affected the livelihoods of billions of people in Bronze Furnace City. If you have to say what Bronze Furnace City lacks, it's the same as other major cities. What it lacks are creation master resources. Even 1,000 high-quality bronze phase cannot compare to the loss of Copper Cauldron City. Su Quan could not estimate how much the disappearance of the lava lands would affect Bronze Furnace City. Su Quan had casually said 1,000 bronze high-quality phase. Other major cities would look for creation masters every year to create some bronze/epic phase. It was used to reward city guards for meritorious service. It was to increase the city guard strength. But with Bronze Furnace City's current financial reserves, they could not even get bronze/epic phase. Even if they had to get bronze/flawless phase, it was not a small amount of pressure to get 300 every year. With the opening of the Abyss world, the price of fire-type spiritual materials had plummeted. It had a huge impact on Bronze Furnace City. Bronze Furnace City's forces were already showing signs of moving out. Therefore, 1,000 bronze high-quality phase was already an unimaginable sum in Su Quan's heart. It was already an unimaginable amount of money. At this moment, Su Quan heard the young man opposite him say in an apologetic tone, 1,000 bronze/epic phase is not a problem. But I wonder if Bronze Furnace City has any specific requirements for these 1,000 bronze/epic phase? Su Quan was stunned when he heard Lin Yuan's words. He did not know what to say for a long time. Su Quan, who was afraid of poverty, heard Lin Yuan's promise. For a moment, he could not believe his ears. Originally, Xue Shuo and the Mother of Bloodbath were quite unconvinced by Su Quan. The fire elemental energy in this lava land was left by the Jade Gui. Now that it had been taken away, it was as good as getting back what belonged to them. Bronze Furnace City was built next to the lava field. It was tantamount to accepting the nurturing of the Jade Gui. But who would have thought that Jade Gui's body would perish in this place? It had such a huge impact on Bronze Cauldron City. From the start, it was his family that owed Bronze Cauldron City. At this moment, Su Quan had already regained his senses. She looked at Lin Yuan with an excited expression and even changed the way she addressed him. He addressed Lin Yuan as Young Lord. Your Highness, is what you said true? Lin Yuan nodded in response. Bronze Cauldron City's standard Fey. I remember it's a copper shield snapping turtle. You can divide these 1,000 bronze/epic Feys. I can provide resources according to the Fey you specify. The change in a lava land's environment will affect the people's livelihood the most. 1,000 bronze/epic Feys won't solve the root of the problem. How about this? I'll introduce a few factions to Bronze Cauldron City in the near future that can drive the city's economic development. Then I'll provide Bronze Cauldron City with 300 bronze/epic phase every year, until Bronze Cauldron City's economic situation recovers. Now that Bronze Cauldron City has returned to its original state, the underground metal resources can continue to be mined. I can make a promise. I don't care about the metal resources in the lava land that were previously occupied by factions. In the future, no outside factions will be allowed to occupy Bronze Cauldron City's mining resources. I'll recycle all the mining resources regardless of species, quality, or quality. I'll provide cash flow to Bronze Cauldron City. Many people will need help at the start of the industrial transformation. I'll set up the Warm Sun Fund's next pilot project in Bronze Cauldron City. All individuals or factions whose industries have deteriorated due to the environmental changes in Bronze Cauldron City. Help me count them. When the time comes, I'll let them choose whether they want Creation Master resources or Radiance dollars as compensation. Hearing Lin Yuan's decisive words. For a moment, Su Quan didn't know what to say. Su Quan's gaze toward Lin Yuan changed. His eyes were filled with reverence. Just how much boldness and sense of responsibility did the youth in front of her have? That was why he was willing to fork out so many resources. To make up for this anomaly that could be defined as a natural disaster or man-made disaster. Not only did the injection of such a large amount of resources not cause any losses to Bronze Cauldron City. Instead, it was a blessing in disguise. Those factions and individuals who went bankrupt due to the environmental changes and the disappearance of the lava land. Lin Yuan was compensating them with his own strength. It meant that Lin Yuan was shouldering the consequences of the changes alone. Su Quan looked at Lin Yuan with even more reverence. Su Quan didn't reject Lin Yuan's compensation. Su Quan couldn't reject it either. At the same time, Su Quan didn't intend to take more of Lin Yuan's resources. Su Quan said, "Your Highness, with such a large amount of resources, Bronze Cauldron City doesn't suffer any losses. You don't need it all in the future. Invest another 300 bronze/epic phase into Bronze Cauldron City every year. If Your Highness doesn't mind, I hope that Bronze Cauldron City can provide more resources in the future. To be able to trade for bronze/epic phase from Your Highness." Lin Yuan glanced at the excited and expectant Bronze Cauldron guards behind Su Quan. He said, "Of course, Bronze Cauldron City used to be next to the lava land. There should be quite a number of abyss dimensional rifts. I'm sure Bronze Cauldron City has collected a lot of law origin crystals. From now on, as long as Bronze Cauldron City can provide 5 law origin crystals, you will be able to get a bronze/epic fae from me." Su Quan's eyes widened and his body trembled when he heard Lin Yuan's words. "Are you serious? If it's really possible, Bronze Cauldron City can provide 50,000 law origin crystals right now. I just need to get 8,000 bronze/epic phase from His Young Highness." Anyone who told Su Quan about such a deal would be in disbelief. Su Quan wouldn't believe it. How could there be such a good thing in the world? But this was what the Moon Empress disciple, Lin Yuan, had said. Su Quan had no choice but to believe it. Su Quan boldly took out all the law origin crystals in Bronze Cauldron City's reserves. If he could really get 8,000 bronze/epic phase, the Bronze Cauldron guards could easily double their original numbers. Chapter 1567. The overall strength of Bronze Cauldron City had increased, which meant that its combat power had increased. Under such circumstances, Su Quan was confident. Within 10 years, Bronze Cauldron City would have to go through the pain of transformation. It had once again become a mid-level city of the Radiant sect. Restore the glory of the past. Hearing Su Quan's words, Lin Yuan shook his head. Upon seeing Lin Yuan shake his head, Su Quan immediately felt disappointed. He thought to himself, he was too greedy. The young lord said that he would allow Bronze Cauldron City to exchange 5 law origin crystals for a bronze/epic fae. Perhaps it was just the young prince's preferential treatment for Copper Cauldron City, or perhaps it was a form of compensation. 8,000 bronze/epic phase. This was a huge project that required 100 class 4 creation masters to work together to complete. Just as Su Quan was regretting his greed, a voice suddenly rang out. Lin Yuan said, "If Bronze Cauldron City can fork out 50,000 law origin crystals, we'll follow our previous agreement. I will prepare 10,000 bronze/epic phase for Bronze Furnace City. But this transaction cycle will be very long. If Bronze Furnace City decides to trade, I can provide 500 bronze/epic phase for Bronze Furnace every month. The entire transaction will last for 20 months. But the premise of this deal is that I have to get my hands on 50,000 law origin crystals from Copper Cauldron City first." Upon hearing that, Su Quan was overjoyed. He didn't expect that the deal he mentioned out of greed would not only succeed. Moreover, Lin Yuan still insisted on the price he had previously given. Provide Bronze Furnace City with 500 bronze/epic phase every month. Such a large number of Creation Master resources were poured into Bronze Furnace City. 500 bronze/epic phase happened to be the Bronze Furnace Guard's limit. Great sorrow and great joy made Su Quan, the captain of the Bronze Furnace Guard. For a moment, he did not know what to say. After a long time, he thanked Lin Yuan and said, "Thank you. Your Highness, give me an hour. I can prepare 50,000 law origin crystals for you." When Lin Yuan heard Su Quan's words, his eyes lit up. When Lin Yuan had traded with the Indigo Azure Guard and the Stormy Wave Guard, Lin Yuan's expression had changed. He was using the identity of the Lord of Sky City. Regardless of whether it was the City Guard Captain of Stormy Wave City or Indigo Azure City, trading under such circumstances would be extremely difficult. No matter how much he trusted him, there was no way he would hand over tens of thousands of law origin crystals to him in advance. But now, Lin Yuan was using his identity as the Moon Empress disciple to make a deal with the Copper Furnace Guard Captain, Su Quan. Lin Yuan could make such a request. Su Quan could also give him peace of mind. Lin Yuan was now in front of the Radiance 100 sequence. He just had to wait for Genius and Chime's quality to reach Fantasy V and their bloodlines to continue transforming. Therefore, during this period of time, Lin Yuan could prepare Bronze/epic phase for Bronze Furnace City. First, take out a portion of these spiritual items. All right, then I'll have to trouble you. Prepare the materials for Bronze Cauldron City after you give me the list. No matter what kind of resources it is, they could be prepared within 3 days. Lin Yuan's transaction with Bronze Cauldron City was equivalent to revealing his true strength. In the past, he would definitely not have been willing to do such a thing. But now, he had an excellent cover. It was none other than Di Wanmi. He now had a Class 5 Creation Master. Even if he took out more Creation Master resources, there was nothing to be surprised about. Lin Yuan had personally seen his master, the Moon Empress, concoct the spirit fluid for 4 hours. Then, he divided the spiritual liquid that he had concocted in the past 4 hours into 100 portions. They were fed to 100 bronze phase of the same species. Among the 100 bronze phase of the same species, 23 of them had reached flawless. 75 of them had reached the epic grade. 2 of them had reached legend. His master, the Moon Empress, had such a speed of enhancing phase. She was basically at the peak of the origin world. If he really had to calculate, Lin Yuan did not rely on spirit chi crystals. It was even faster than Lin Yuan's current speed. However, when the soul thought whale fused with the willpower rune that it had just comprehended, Morbius would reach gold. Lin Yuan's speed of increasing the quality of bronze phase would surpass the Moon Empress. Di Wanmi had just become a Class 5 Creation Master. He was definitely not comparable to the Moon Empress. However, as a tool, he could concoct hundreds or thousands of bronze/epic phase. It was not a very surprising thing. However, Lin Yuan could not possibly use the Class 5 Creation Master resources that he had obtained with great difficulty to enhance the phase quality. Lin Yuan could handle these things by himself. Lin Yuan had set Di Wanmi's work goal as the forging of artifacts, as well as helping the 100 Questions Beast Army raise the levels of those walnuts. It quickly rose to diamond rank. Such an ability was something he was still lacking at the moment. It could be said that Red Thorn had used the tongue of Relinquish to control Diwanmi. Lin Yuan no longer had any shortcomings in terms of creation master abilities. After obtaining 50,000 Law's origin crystals from Su Quan, the sky had already darkened completely. He was ready to rush to the Radiant Moon Palace to have dinner with his master, the Moon Empress. The situation in the Lava Land involved the livelihood of a large city in the Radiant sect. Lin Yuan was prepared to inform his master, the Moon Empress. On Lin Yuan's way to the Radiant Moon Palace, Su Quan was already in the office of the city guard captain. He started to write a document about the changes in the lava lands. The anomaly in the lava field was originally a bad thing. However, Lin Yuan's appearance had turned the land of lava's mutation into a good thing. It also allowed the lava land to continue nurturing plant phase and excavating ores. Lin Yuan's promise could be said to be in Su Quan's heart. It was like a protective umbrella. After that, even if a top faction came to Bronze Furnace City, they wanted to invest in Bronze Furnace City's ores. Su Quan could directly use Lin Yuan's name. He no longer had to reject the top faction's request and cause the top faction to withdraw their funds from Bronze Furnace City. He could then be the scapegoat. Lin Yuan also promised to bring in a few top factions for Bronze Furnace City. It would drive the economic development of Bronze Furnace City. This was what Su Quan cared about the most. However, he did not know which faction Lin Yuan would bring to Bronze Furnace City. The anomaly in the lava land definitely had to be reported to His Majesty Cicada Cry. Therefore, Su Quan reported everything that had happened after he met Lin Yuan. It was all written in detail in this report. Although it was Su Quan's first time seeing the Moon Empress disciple, Lin Yuan. In Su Quan's heart, Lin Yuan was already worthy of being a Radiance envoy. If such a responsible young man could become a Radiance envoy of the Radiance sect. To Hui Yao, this could be said to be a blessing. On the way back, Xue Shuo said to Lin Yuan apologetically, Lin Yuan, I have caused trouble for you. I will return to the Heaven-Blessed Mansion and take some resources from there to make up for the losses in the lava land.